आपण रेकॉर्डिंग स्टार्ट नव्हतं केलं म्हणून दिसत नव्हतं का? पण हे असं दिसतंय ना. यूट्यूब बघा ना. अहो यूट्यूब चॅनल, कॉलेजचं चॅनल ओपन करा ना, तुम्हाला दिसेल ना लगेच लाईव्ह काय चालू. तेच दिसते अजून. पण दिसत नाही आहे. आपलं काही समजत नाही याच्यातलं. त्याने त्यावेळेस दाखवलं तेव्हा बरोबर झालं होतं ना, पण एवढं दाखवलं होतं आपल्याला. फक्त ऑन करून द्या म्हणे चालू होऊन जाईल. आम्ही तेवढंच केलं पण मग ते नाही होते. मी त्यांना म्हटली ती मी पण शेअर झाली ना लिंक त्याला, पण दिसत नाही ना मला. नाही ना, पण ते दिसत नाही ना. ती नाही लिंक, थांबा. हॅलो हॅलो, का मग? हां मी तेच म्हणते, मला त्या दिवशी पण ते दिसत नव्हतं. आता हे लाईव्ह आहे मॅडम ऑलरेडी, तुम्ही जे करतायत ना हे ऑलरेडी लाईव्ह आहे. पण फक्त प्रॉब्लेम काय आहे की जी जी विंडो दिसते ना आपली मीटची ती दिसत नाही. हां ती मला दिसत नाही आहे. ऑडिओ पण ऐकायला येतंय का? ऑडिओ येतंय ऐकायला. व्हिडिओ दिसत नाही आहे फक्त. बघताय काहीतरी. आणि इथे तर व्हिडिओ आपण ऑलरेडी सगळं कनेक्ट केलेलंच आहे, त्याच्यामुळे काही प्रॉब्लेम नाही. ही माझी आणि ही याची आहे. कॅमेराच ऑन नव्हता. यूट्यूबला दिसतंय का बघा. नाही दुसरी येईल थांबा. मॅडम थांबा, शेअर नका करू अजून. अरे थांबा ना तुम्ही. हे सॉल्व व्हायला पाहिजे ना. दिसतंय का बघा आता. दिसतंय. एक मिनिट मॅम. Hello. Good morning everyone. Sorry for the delay. We will start our session. So I request Dr. Smita Magdane ma'am to start the session.
Very good morning to all of you, and sorry for inconvenience and delay for today's program. Very good morning to all, and grand welcome to the enlightening occasion of National Webinar Consumer Protection. Honorable Suchitnis Madam, Maratha Vidyaprasarak Samajat, Srimati Nilimatai Pawar, Honorable Director of Maratha Vidyaprasarak Samaj, Shri Nana Sahib Mahale Sir, Honorable Principal, Dr. J.D. Sonkhaskar Madam, our IQAC Coordinator, Dr. D.N. Pawar Sir, morning session in charge, Mr. Rajesh Dhankar Sir, Coordinator of our national webinar and Head of the Department of Commerce, Dr. Sujata Gadak Ma'am, Honorable Resource Person of this national webinar, Dr. Lad Sir from Nanded, Mr. Biswal Sir from Odisha, Dr. Gharote Madam from Madhya Pradesh, and all department heads, all my colleagues, respected senior faculties, participants, dear students, once again, I welcome to all of you on behalf of IQAC cell, that is Internal Quality Assurance Cell, and Department of Commerce of Maratha Vidya Prasarak Samaj, Karmavir Shantaram Bapu, Kondaji Vaure, Art, Science and Commerce College, SIDCO, affiliated with Savitribai Phule Pune University, Pune, on the platform of National Webinar on Consumer Protection. Maratha Vidya Prasarak Samaj is a renowned educational institute having the history of 109 years covering all aspects of education field like medical, engineering, management, architect, agriculture, polytechnic, along with 22 senior colleges with post-graduation facilities. Friends, we all are aware that the global onslaught of coronavirus COVID-19 since last 2 years has brought difficult times for all survival and growth in all sectors. But it has taught us new ways of living and survival. There is lockdown for us, but it was not locked our work. Taking this lead, we have decided to take a step ahead, and hence the outcome is this national webinar. We promise you that we will try all our best to share and create new paradigm which will motivate intellectuals to indulge, acknowledge, and identify situations and conditions. Friends, on the occasion of World Consumer Right Day, our Department of Commerce take the opportunity to organize a national webinar on consumer protection. On this occasion, now I request to the coordinator of this national webinar and the head of the Department of Commerce, Dr. Sujata Gada, to begin with her opening speech of our national webinar. Dr. Sujata Gada, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. Good morning and welcome all of you. Today we are celebrating World Consumer Rights Day. US President Mr. John F. Kennedy was first motivator of this World Consumer Rights Day. On 15 March 1962, John F. Kennedy sent a mail to US Congress, and that mail he formally addressed the issue of consumer rights. President Kennedy was the first world leader to do so and understand significance of the same. Thereafter, 15 March has been celebrated as World Consumer Rights Day. In day-to-day life, we all are purchase some goods and services. That means we all are consumers. Anyone purchase goods and services for their personal use, it's called consumer. Consumer have many rights. National and international consumer protection acts gives many more rights to consumer, but still consumers are deceived because they don't know their rights. So it become essential to create awareness among consumers, create awareness among society for this social issue. We, Department of Commerce, organizing national webinar on the topic of consumer protection. On behalf of Karmavir Shantaram Bapu Kondaji Vaure, Art Commerce Science College, Sidco Nasik, IQAC, and Department of Commerce, I heartily welcome today's resource person, Dr. Vijay Jilad, State President of Grahak Panchayat, Maharashtra, Sri Bishwajit Biswal, State Secretary, Grahak Panchayat, Odisha, Dr. Archana Gharote, Associate Professor, Hidayatullah University, Raipur, Chhattisgarh. I would like to thank them for accepting our invitation and giving us their valuable time. I express sincere of sense of gratitude toward honorable dignitaries of Maharashtra Maratha Vidya Prasarak Samaja's President Honorable Dr. Tushar Shrevale, Sabapati Honorable Sri Manikrao Boraste, Upasabapati Honorable Sri Raghunana Ahire, Sir Chitnis Honorable Srimati Nilimatai Pawar, Chitnis Honorable Sri Sunil Dada Dhikle, and all respectable honorable managing members and honorable staff representative. I am indebted to our beloved principal, Dr. J.D. Sonkhaskar ma'am, for giving us this opportunity. I commended my colleague, Dr. Smita Pagdhane, Dr. Ravindra Hire, Dr. C.A. Trupti Devre, Mrs. Revita and Rupali Jadhav, Mrs. Vaisha Thakre, Rakhi Patil, Mr. Mayur Tatar, Mrs. Kalyani More, Mr. Akshay Khatale, Mr. Nitin Shingade for their special hard work for this webinar. I would like to conclude my introductory remark by expressing the hope that the webinar on consumer protection will definitely beneficial to the all participants. I hand over next session of this program to Dr. Smita Pagdhane. Thank you very much. Once again, welcome. Have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, madam, for your enlightening opening speech of the same webinar. Now, I request to our IQAC coordinator, Dr. D.N. Pawar sir to express his views about our college and this webinar. Dr. D.N. Pawar sir.
Thank you, madam. And very good morning to all of you. I, Dr. D.N. Pawar, as an IQAC coordinator, on behalf of the IQAC Department of Maratha Vidya Prasarak Samajas, Karmavir Shantaram Bapu Kondaji Vavre, Arts, Science and Commerce College, Shudko, Nasik, warmly welcome you all for this national level webinar on consumer protection. First, I would like to congratulate the Department of Commerce for selecting a very innovative and significant theme, which also fulfill our department, our college vision, that is to empower students with life skill and social values for global competency. And as we know, the NAC also suggested the value for students and the higher education institution, that is one of the global competency. And I hope this today's webinar will also helpful in this regards to increase the social values as well as life skill in terms of the protection or consumer protection rights amongst the students and the stakeholders. Friends, on behalf of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell and Department of Commerce, I would like to welcome you, Honorable Dr. Vijay Lad, State President, Grahak Panchayat Maharashtra. Sir, welcome you all. Welcome you on behalf of the Internal Quality Assurance Cell. We hope your knowledge will be benchmark for our student also and for many faculty also. Although the members joined through this webinar is number is less, but several faculty members as well as students lively watching your sessions, will watching your session through various laboratories. Again, Mr. Bishwajit Bishwal, State Secretary, Grahak Panchayat, Odisha, our today's second resource person. I welcome you sir. Miss Dr. Archana Gharote, Associate Professor, National Law College, Raipur, is third resource person. And again, welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of the IQAC. I also welcome our Honorable Principal and Guide, Dr. J.D. Sonkaskar, under his able guidance. Our college, I would like to share the good news for and the event for all of you that the Savitribai Phule Pune University awarded the Best College Award to this institution during the academic year 2021-22, and it is one of the honor to our institutions and college also. So the internal quality assurance continuously taking efforts and continuously organizing such type of webinars, as well as after that webinar we are arrange the feedback system, and I request all of you kindly provide your feedback after the webinar for improving the quality benchmark for the college as well as the program that will be organized in the future. Once again, on behalf of the IQAC, I would like and welcome you all, and I also congratulate the coordinator of this course, Dr. Sujata Gadak, Dr. S.N. Pagdhane. I also thankful to Mr. R.D. Zankar sir, which is mentor for this arts and commerce faculty as a morning in charge. Professor Dr. Arya Ahire sir, Dr. C.A. Trupti Devre, Miss R.P. Jadhav, Mr. R.M. Jadhav, Mr. M.S. Khatale, Mr. A.R. Khatale, Tatar, V.A. Thakre, R.M. Patil, K. More, and all faculty members of the Commerce Department for organizing a workshop. So I will take very less time, and I conclude my session with expectation from your feedback after this webinar. I hope today's webinar will be truthful and the discussion will be useful for students as well as to prepare a policy for the awareness and to increase the consumer protections act effectively. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable thoughts. Now, I request our mentor and morning in charge, Mr. Rajesh Zankar, on behalf of our Honorable Chairman of this national webinar, Consumer Protection, Dr. J.D. Sonkaskar, ma'am. Due to some unavailability, ma'am will not join us. So, on behalf of her, our mentor and our morning in charge, an enthusiastic and active member of our college, Mr. Rajesh Zankar, will address to the webinar. Now, I request to Zankar sir to proceed his speech and views. Zankar sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Very good morning to all of you. Honorable Principal, Dr. J.D. Sunkhaskar, Madam, Dr. Sujata Gadak, Head, Department of Commerce, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Dhaneshwar Pawar, my fellow colleagues, Dr. Smita Pagdhane, Dr. Ravindra Ahire, CA Dr. Trupti Devre, Mrs. R.P. Zadhav, R.M. Zadhav, Varsha Thakre, ma'am, as well as Mrs. R.M. Patil, Mrs. K. More, Mr. Mayur Tatar, and Mr. Akshay Khatale. Today is our resource persons, Mr. Biswajit Biswal, State Secretary, Consumer Forum, Odisha, Dr. Vijay Lad, State President, Consumer Forum, Maharashtra, and Dr. Archana Gharote, National Law University, Raipur, Madhya Pradesh. Respected heads of the departments, dear colleagues, students, and dear participants. I welcome you all on the occasion of one-day national webinar organized by the Department of Commerce on consumer protection. First of all, I must congratulate to the Department of Commerce for the topic they have chosen. I think it's a need of today. Dear friends, Maratha Vidya Prasarak Samaj is one of the most known and the second largest institute in Maharashtra who cater the education in every area. The motto of our institution is welfare and happiness of the masses. That means Bahujana Hitaya, Bahujana Sukhaya. Our Karmavir Shantaram Bapu Kundaji Wavre Arts, Science and Commerce College is situated in the heart of the Nasik city. I am very happy to inform you all that recently our college was awarded as the best college by the Savitribai Phule Pune University. All the departments and all the teachers are devotedly working for the overall development of students. When we talk about the consumer, we all now and then are the consumers. In our day-to-day life, we must be aware of our rights being consumer. Therefore, Government of India introduced the Consumer Protection Act. It provides rights to prevent consumers from fraud or specified unfair practices. These rights ensure that consumers can make better choices in the marketplace and get help with complaints. It provides several rights: right to safety, right to get information, right to choose, right to be heard, as well as right to consumer education, and so on. So, to know all these rights, our responsibilities, our role as a consumer, as a customer is very important in this entire scenario. I hope this one-day webinar will definitely throw light on these issues. The aim of this webinar is to create awareness among the society. With these words, I once again welcome you all and wish fruitful deliberations ahead. I must say thank you to the organizer who has given me a chance to express my views on this occasion. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for expressing and sharing your valuable thoughts and providing us with valuable inputs and facts and motivating us for organizing the national webinar on such relevant theme. Now, we are coming to the technical sessions. Our first session of this national webinar. Good morning and welcome to all the resource person and participants of this national webinar on the theme Consumer Protection. Now, without any delay, let us begin with our first technical session of today's webinar. That is, the guest of this webinar is Dr. Vijay Lad, State President of Grahak Panchayat of Maharashtra. Now, I request to my colleague, Dr. C.A. Trupti Devre ma'am, to introduce Dr. Lad sir as a resource person of our first technical session. Over to Dr. Devre ma'am.
Om Shanti. Good morning, all. We are glad to introduce our today's webinar's eminent personality as a resource person for the first session, Dr. Vijay Lad. He is a veterinary doctor. He also having in-depth study of scripture Das Bodh, which gives him a spiritual personality. He's a part of consumer movement since 1997 and had participated in various workshops which were organized by state and central government regarding consumer awareness. He is awarded with various awards during his service as a consumer awareness programs. Currently, he is working as a state president of Grahak Panchayat Maharashtra at Nanded. So I request sir to express his opinion regarding consumer protection theme. Thank you, sir. Welcome.
गुड मॉर्निंग सर.
गुड मॉर्निंग.
लाड सर, लाड सर, आता तुम्ही तुमचं लेक्चर सुरू करू शकता. तुम्हाला
आवाज येतोय ना?
हो 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 हो.
धन्यवाद. अनेक वेबिनार आणि ऑनलाईन बैठका यामध्ये मला आज अत्यंत आनंद आहे, अभिमानही आहे. नाशिक मधल्या मराठा विद्या प्रसारक समाज ही मंडळी 100 वर्षापेक्षा जास्त काळ होऊन गेला एवढी जुनी संस्था आहे. बहुजन हिताय बहुजन सुखाय हे उद्दिष्ट डोळ्यासमोर ठेवून आदरणीय कर्मवीर रावसाहेब थोरात यांनी 1914 मध्ये याची पायाभरणी केली आणि ज्या कॉलेजला बेस्ट कॉलेज असं अवॉर्ड मिळालं त्या कॉलेजच्या कॉमर्स डिपार्टमेंटनी कर्मवीर शांताराम बापू कोंडाजी वावरे कॉलेज या कॉलेजच्या कॉमर्स डिपार्टमेंटनी हा वेबिनार आयोजित केला. मित्रांनो, खरं तर ग्राहक ही संकल्पनाच आजही आपल्याला त्या पद्धतीने डायजेस्ट होत नाहीये. किती महत्वाचा विषय आहे हा. आता आपण पाहिलं की ही सगळी रचना लावण्यासाठी आदरणीय स्मिता पागधने मॅडम आहेत, SS गडाख आहेत, डॉक्टर तृप्ती देवरे आहेत, झनकर सर बोलले. ही सगळी मंडळी आणि या विभागाची एक्झिक्युटिव्ह कमिटी या सगळ्या सदस्यांना मी सुरुवातीला शुभेच्छा देतो, अभिनंदन करतो, त्यांचे धन्यवाद मानतो की ग्राहक ही संकल्पना आज अत्यंत महत्वाची आहे. म्हणजे या देशाची या देशाचा जो अर्थपुरुष आहे, आपल्याला माहिती आहे की कुंडलिनी शक्ती असते. आमचे ग्राहक तीर्थ बिंदू माधव जोशी असं म्हणत की ग्राहक हा अर्थपुरुषाची कुंडलिनी आहे. आपण नाशिकची बहुतांश मंडळी आहात. मी मुद्दाम मराठीत बोलतोय, हिंदी बोलणार नाही, इंग्लिश बोलणार नाही. आमचे मित्र ग्राहक पंचायत ओरिसाचे ऑर्गनायझिंग सेक्रेटरी प्राध्यापक बिस्वजित विस्वाल ते या बैठकीला आपल्याला मार्गदर्शन करणार आहेत. त्यानंतर आदरणीय अर्चना घरोटे मॅडम त्या रायपूरवरून आहेत, त्याही आपल्याला मार्गदर्शन करणार आहेत. आज आपण पाहतो आहोत 15 मार्च जागतिक ग्राहक दिनाच्या निमित्ताने आपण हा वेबिनार आयोजित केलाय. पण 1962-63च्या काळामध्ये काय घडला प्रसंग? मॅडमने आता सांगितलं की तत्कालीन राष्ट्राध्यक्ष अमेरिकेचे जॉन एफ केनेडींनी ग्राहकांच्या बाजूचा विचार मांडला. 5 अधिकार त्याला देण्यात आले. एका शीतपेयामध्ये एक किडा सदृश्य प्राणी, एक कीटक आढळला आणि त्यावर एवढी चर्चा झाली. या विचारापासून आम्ही किती दूर आहेत? आज आम्ही जे अन्न खातो, मी हजार्ड अनालिसिस क्रिटिकल कंट्रोल पॉइंट या HACCP हे जे सर्टिफिकेशन अथॉरिटी आहे त्याचा मी ऑडिटर आहे. जे फूड आम्ही तयार करतो, एक्सपोर्ट करतो किंवा इथं देशामध्ये वितरित करतो, त्या पाठीमागे किती शुद्धता असली पाहिजे, ग्राहकाचा किती सूक्ष्म विचार केला पाहिजे, ही संकल्पना हळूहळू आपल्याकडे आत्ता येऊ लागली आहे आणि ही महत्वाची आहे. आज आपण कुठलंही खाद्यपदार्थाचं जर पाकिट पाहाल, दूध आहे, दही आहे, तूप आहे, त्यावर HACCP सर्टिफाईड असं लिहिलेलं असतं. ही खाद्य प्रणालीची शुद्धता तपासणारी एक यंत्रणा आहे. ग्राहकाचा एवढा सूक्ष्म विचार आमच्या प्राचीन ऋषी मुनींनी सुद्धा केलेला आहे. आपल्याला माहिती असेल, आपण मध्यंतरी जेव्हा लॉकडाऊन चालू झालं तेव्हा आर्य चाणक्याच्या परत आपण त्या सिरियल्स पाहिल्या. कौटिल्याचं अर्थशास्त्र आपल्याला माहिती आहे, नारद स्मृती आपल्याला माहिती आहे, याज्ञवल्कांची स्मृती आपल्याला माहिती आहे. या सगळ्यामध्ये ग्राहकाला जर फसवणूक झाली तर काय दंड केला पाहिजे याचं विवेचन आहे. म्हणजे हजारो वर्षापूर्वी सुद्धा आपल्याकडे ग्राहकाला न्याय मिळाला पाहिजे, ग्राहकाचं शोषण होता कामा नये, ग्राहकाची फसवणूक होता कामा नये, हा विचार आमच्या पूर्वसुरींनी त्यांच्या ग्रंथांमध्ये शब्दबद्ध करून ठेवलाय. पण आमचं लक्ष तिकडे नाहीये. 1962-63 दरम्यान जी ग्राहकांच्या बाबतीत जी चर्चा झाली अमेरिकेमध्ये आणि 15 मार्च हा जागतिक ग्राहक दिन साजरा करण्याचं ठरलं. आपल्या देशाला 1947 साली स्वातंत्र्य मिळालं आणि हे स्वातंत्र्य मिळालं. या स्वातंत्र्य मिळवण्यासाठी आपलं कुटुंब सुद्धा विचार केला नाही. सगळं शरीर, मन, तन मन धन अर्पण करून या देशाला स्वातंत्र्य मिळवून दिलं. त्यातल्या काही स्वातंत्र्य सैनिकांना असं वाटलं की अरे आपण काहीतरी वेगळं काम केलं पाहिजे, आता आपला देश स्वतंत्र झालाय. त्यामध्ये एक आहेत ग्राहक तीर्थ बिंदू माधव जोशी. त्यांनी वयाच्या 42व्या वर्षी ग्राहक ही संकल्पना रुजवायला चालू केली. 1978च्या दरम्यान देशव्यापी संघटना म्हणून ग्राहक पंचायतचा उदय झाला. आपण जसा जागतिक ग्राहक दिन साजरा करतो तसाच राष्ट्रीय ग्राहक दिनही आहे. राष्ट्रीय ग्राहक दिन म्हणजे या देशाने 24 डिसेंबर 1986 ला ग्राहक संरक्षण कायदा पारित केला. मित्रांनो, भारतीय स्वातंत्र्य प्राप्तीनंतर भारतीय प्रजासत्ताकामध्ये आजच्या तारखेपर्यंत केवळ ग्राहक संरक्षण कायदा हा एकमेव कायदा आहे की जो कायदा पारित होण्यासाठी, मान्य होण्यासाठी एकही दिवस आंदोलन नाही, धरणे नाही, मोर्चा नाही, तोडो फोडो जलाओ असं काहीही घडलेलं नाही. आपल्या भारतीय शास्त्र ग्रंथांवर आधारित तत्वज्ञानाला अनुसरून ग्राहक संरक्षण कायदा आणि ग्राहक पंचायत या संस्था काम करतायत. केवळ ग्राहकांचं हित पाहिलं जातं का यामध्ये? हो, पण ग्राहकाला फुकट मिळालं पाहिजे, कमी किमतीत मिळालं पाहिजे अशी धारणा आपली नाहीये. आपली धारणा अशी आहे की रास्त किमतीत आम्हाला वस्तू मिळाली पाहिजे, योग्य किमतीत आम्हाला वस्तू मिळाली पाहिजे. ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्र या संस्थेचं मी काम पाहतो. 1997 माझा परिचय करून देताना सांगितलंय की 1997 पासून मी ग्राहक पंचायतीचं काम करतोय आणि समर्थ रामदास स्वामींच्या विचारांचा अभ्यास आणि त्यांच्या चरित्राचा अभ्यास करण्याचा प्रयत्न करतोय. 350 वर्षापूर्वी दासबोधामध्ये 2 वचनं आलेली आहेत. तंदुला सारिखे वाकुडे खडे, चाऊ जाता दात पडे. म्हणजे तांदळामध्ये कशी भेसळ होते, तांदळासारखे पांढरे दिसणारे खडे ते भेसळ केली जातात. पण लक्षात येत नाही, भात शिजतो आणि आम्ही जेव्हा खायला जातो दात पडे तेव्हा कळे. म्हणजे तो भात खात असताना आमचा दात पडतो आणि आमच्या लक्षात तांदूळामध्ये भेसळ झालेली. अशा अनेक गोष्टी आपल्याला आपल्या ऋषीमुनींनी पूर्वजांनी सांगून ठेवलेले आहेत. आमचं तिकडे लक्ष नाहीये. ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्राचं अधिष्ठान हे स्वामी विवेकानंद आहे. मला मोठा आनंद आहे की ज्या संस्थेच्या माध्यमामध्ये मी बोलतो आहे आज, आणि आमच्या ग्राहक पंचायतीचे एक अत्यंत काय म्हणू त्याला कुशल संघटक असलेले ऍडव्होकेट सुरेंद्र सोनवणे वेबिनार घडवून आणावा किंवा या वेबिनारला आमच्यासारखी मंडळी तिथे यावीत यासाठी मोठा आटोकाट प्रयत्न केलेला आहे. मी ऍडव्होकेट सुरेंद्र सोनवणेंनाही धन्यवाद देतो की हा विषय ग्राहक म्हणून आपण विद्यार्थ्यांपर्यंत पोहोचवणं ही अत्यंत काळाची गरज आहे. का म्हणतो मी असं? ग्राहक पंचायत या संघटनेचं अधिष्ठान हे स्वामी विवेकानंद आहेत. आपल्याला कल्पना असेल, स्वामी विवेकानंदांनी केलेली 2 भाकीत आहेत. एक 1947 ला या देशाला स्वातंत्र्य मिळेल हे एक भाकीत जे खरं ठरलं, आणि दुसरं भाकीत आहे 2044 मध्ये भारत देश हा विश्ववंदिता होईल. आमच्या ग्राहक पंचायत या संस्थेचं अधिष्ठान स्वामी विवेकानंद आहेत. आणि मला मोठा आनंद आहे, मी हे यासाठी सांगत होतो की आपली जी संस्था आहे, शिक्षणाचा प्रचार प्रसार व्हावा, बहुजन हिताय बहुजन सुखाय हे घोषवाक्य पुरेशिरी घेऊन आपण कार्यरत आहात. स्वामी विवेकानंदांनी 4.5 वर्षाचा युरोपचा दौरा करून रामेश्वरला आल्यानंतर सांगितलं की देव केवळ देवळात नाहीये, तर तो दरिद्री नारायणामध्ये आहे. नारायण असे विश्वी, त्याची पूजा करीत जावी, कोणीतरी कष्ट व्हावी आपली काया. आपण सगळे या एका विचाराचे आहोत. आपल्या सगळ्यांची ही एक जात आहे. तुम्ही जात म्हणाल, तुम्ही म्हणाल काय जातीसारखा विषय तुम्ही बोलताय. हो, ऐसी कळवळ्याची जाती. जगद्गुरु तुकाराम महाराज म्हणतात, ऐसी कळवळ्याची जाती लाभाविण करी प्रीती. आज या कॉलेजच्या कॉमर्स डिपार्टमेंटचा, कॉलेजची जी कार्यकारिणी आहे त्यांचा काय फायदा आहे? पण विद्यार्थ्यांना समजलं पाहिजे, स्टाफला समजलं पाहिजे, लोकांपर्यंत हा विषय गेला पाहिजे की ग्राहक म्हणजे नक्की काय, ग्राहकाची कर्तव्य काय, ग्राहकाचे अधिकार काय, या सगळ्या गोष्टी आपल्या लक्षात आल्या पाहिजेत. अनेक पुढच्या 2 सत्रांमध्ये बोलणारी मंडळी आहेत. एक मी सार वजा आपल्या समोर मी सगळ्या गोष्टी ठेवतो आहे, कारण मी काही ऍडव्होकेट नाहीये, मी वेटरनरी डॉक्टर आहे. माझा परिचय करून देताना सांगितलंय, आपल्याला माहिती आहे की आपल्या डोक्यावर जाहिरातींचं गारुड किती आहे. तुम्हाला कल्पना नाही मी काय केलं. मी या फेअर अँड लवली कंपनीला, जे प्रोडक्शनच्या कंपनीचं आहे, त्यांना मी 10 वर्षाखाली पत्र लिहिलं की मला 1 किलोचा डबा फेअर अँड लवलीचा पाठवा. त्याचं कारण मी त्यांना सांगितलं की माझ्याकडे तुम्ही जे म्हणता 7 दिन में गोरापन, 7 दिवसामध्ये माझा रंग बदलेल. मी एक काम करतो, मी वेटरनरी डॉक्टर आहे, माझा पेशंट एक म्हैस आहे, त्या म्हशीला, बफेलोला मी एकाच बाजूला 8 दिवस फेअर अँड लवली क्रीम लावीन आणि पाहूया 7 दिन में गोरापन येतं का. असं काही घडत नाही, हे त्यांनाही माहिती आहे. त्यांनी माझ्या पत्राचं उत्तरच दिलं नाही. मित्रांनो, अनेक प्राणी, अनेक पक्षी असे आहेत की ज्यांचे डोळे उघडण्यासाठी 8 दिवस, 12 दिवस, 15 दिवस लागतात. परंतु मनुष्यातला ग्राहक असा प्राणी आहे की त्याचे डोळे आयुष्यभर उघडत नाहीत. मला तुम्ही सांगा की तुमच्यापैकी असा कोण छातीठोकपणे म्हणू शकेल की माझी फसवणूक झालीच नाही, आतापर्यंत माझी फसवणूक झाली नाही, असं कुणीतरी म्हणू शकेल का? प्रत्येकाला कुठं ना कुठं तरी आपण फसवलेलो गेलो आहोत. म्हणून ग्राहक दृष्टीचा 3रा डोळा उघडणं आता अत्यंत आवश्यक आहे. कारण 2044 मध्ये या देशाला विश्ववंदिता व्हायचं आहे, आणि हे भाकीत स्वामी विवेकानंदांनी सांगून ठेवलेलं आहे. ही जी मंडळी आहेत ना, यांची साधना, यांची ध्यानधारणा ही वाया गेलेली नाहीये. आपल्याला कल्पना आहे का? योगी अरविंदांना एकाने विचारलं, एक वार्ताहर, ब्रिटिश वार्ताहर, तिने विचारलं की तुम्हाला वाटतं का की तुमच्या जिवंत असेपर्यंत तुमच्या देशाला स्वातंत्र्य मिळेल? योगी अरविंद म्हणाले, हो, आय एम व्हेरी मच कॉन्फिडंट, या देशाला स्वातंत्र्य मिळेल. योगी अरविंदांचं जीवन एकदम कायापालट करणार आहे. आता तो विषय मी बोलत नाहीये. मला एवढंच सांगायचं आहे, योगी अरविंदांना दुसरा प्रश्न जेव्हा त्या वार्ताहरांनी विचारला, कधी मिळेल स्वातंत्र्य, योगी अरविंद म्हणाले, माझ्या वाढदिवशी स्वातंत्र्य मिळेल. आणि 15 ऑगस्ट 1947 अमृत महोत्सव असताना, त्या दिवशी 75वा वाढदिवस असताना योगी अरविंदांचा या देशाला स्वातंत्र्य मिळालेलं आहे. असंच एक व्यक्तिमत्व आत्ताच्या काळामध्ये होऊन गेलं, त्यांचं नाव आहे बिंदू माधव जोशी. देश स्वतंत्र झाला, अनेक प्रश्न, अनेक विषय डोळ्यासमोर आहेत, परंतु ग्राहक जर सजग झाला, ग्राहकाला जर ग्राहक दृष्टी मिळाली, तर तो चांगलं काम करू शकेल आणि देशाची अर्थविषयक प्रगती तो चांगल्या पद्धतीनं करू शकेल, असा विश्वास घेऊन ग्राहक तीर्थ बिंदू माधव जोशींनी 1978-79 दरम्यान ग्राहक पंचायत देशभर उभी केली. आणि पुढे राजीव गांधी, आपल्या इंदिरा गांधी आहेत, राजीव गांधी आहेत, त्यांना त्यांनी वेळोवेळी भेट दिली आणि सांगितलं की ग्राहकाविषयी आपल्या देशामध्ये कायदा झाला पाहिजे. आणि 1986 राजीव गांधी पंतप्रधान असताना हा कायदा पारित झालेला आहे. आणि मी तुम्हाला सांगितलं की आजच्या तारखेपर्यंत असा एकही कायदा झाला नाही की ज्या कायद्यासाठी धरणे, तोडो फोडो, जलावो असं करावं लागलं नाही. तो एकमेव कायदा म्हणजे हा आपला ग्राहक संरक्षण कायदा आहे. आणि या ग्राहक संरक्षण कायद्याच्या माध्यमाद्वारे आपल्याला अनेक अधिकार प्राप्त झालेले आहेत. ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्र ही आमची एक चळवळ आहे, ही एकमेव चळवळ आहे महाराष्ट्रामध्ये की जी केवळ ग्राहकांसाठी काम करते. ग्राहकांचं संघटन, ग्राहकांचं प्रबोधन, ग्राहकांना मार्गदर्शन हे काम करते. भारत सरकारच्या नीती आयोगाशी रजिस्टर्ड आहे, चॅरिटी कमिशनरकडे नोंदणी केलेली आहे. एवढंच नव्हे, मोठा अभिमान आहे आम्हाला की 5 वर्ष ब्युरो ऑफ इंडियन स्टँडर्ड BIS या संस्थेसोबत ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्राचे राज्य सचिव आदरणीय अरुणजी वाघमारे यांनी अनेक बैठका केल्या. ग्राहकांच्या बाबतीमध्ये काय काय BIS स्टँडर्ड ठरवलं पाहिजे यावर चर्चा केली, त्यामध्ये सहभाग घेतला. असं हे अत्यंत ऊर्जादायी, प्रेरणादायी ग्राहकांच्या चळवळीसाठी, ग्राहकांच्या संघटनेसाठी, त्यांचं संघटन व्हावं, प्रबोधन व्हावं, मार्गदर्शन व्हावं यासाठी आम्ही काम करतो आहोत. आम्ही काही तत्व आमच्या समोर आहेत. आम्ही अर्थव्यवस्थेचे पंचप्राण मानतो. आपल्याला माहिती आहे की आपल्या शरीरामध्ये सुद्धा पंचप्राण आहेत. आता ही संस्था नाशिकला आहे आणि नाशिकला योगाचं काम करणारं एक मोठी संस्था आहे. आणि आपणही सगळे काही आसनं, योगासनं करणारी मंडळी आहोत. आपल्याला माहिती आहे की या शरीरामध्ये पंचप्राण निवास करून आहेत. आणि या पंचप्राणांचं जर सुव्यवस्थित संचालन चालू असेल तर हा देह टिकतो. एखादा प्राण जांभई देईल, एखादा प्राण आपल्याला रक्ताभिसरण संस्था चालू ठेवील. व्यान, समान, प्राण, उदान, अपान असे पंचप्राण आहेत आपल्या शरीरामध्ये. आम्ही असं मानतो की या ग्राहक चळवळीचे सुद्धा, अर्थव्यवस्थेचे सुद्धा 5 प्राण आहेत. त्यामध्ये शेतकरी, ग्राहक, श्रमिक, उद्योजक, व्यापारी हे सगळे पंचप्राण आहेत. माऊली, आपल्याला माहिती आहे ज्ञानेश्वर माऊलींनी असं सांगितलं की अंग अंगी भाव असला पाहिजे. म्हणजे काय हो, मी तुम्हाला एक उदाहरण देतो. डोळे आमचे आयुष्यभर पाहत राहतात. ते कधी म्हणतील का फार झाला, कंटाळा आला मला पाहायचा, आता मी जेवण करतो, मी आता अन्न डोळ्याने घेतो. पाय असं म्हणतील का, अरे जन्मल्यापासून आम्ही चालतो आहोत, आता आम्ही पाय चालणार नाही, आम्ही जेवायचं काम करू, हातांनी चालावं. असं होऊ शकेल का? या देशाचीच नव्हे तर विश्वाची कल्याणकारी अर्थव्यवस्था जर उभी करायची असेल तर शेतकरी, उद्योजक, श्रमिक, व्यापारी आणि ग्राहक या पंचप्राणांमध्ये समन्वय असला पाहिजे. हे कुणी एकमेकाचे शत्रू नाहीयेत. म्हणून ग्राहक पंचायतीच्या कार्यकर्त्याला व्यापारी म्हणजे शत्रू वाटत नाहीये. कारण काय आहे की तो सुद्धा ग्राहकच आहे. समजा माझं किराणा दुकान आहे, पण मी कपड्याचा तर ग्राहक आहे. सोनं घ्यायचंय, खरेदी वस्तू खरेदी करायच्या, तर मी तिथं ग्राहकच आहे. मित्रांनो, या देशाच्या राष्ट्रपती पर्यंत ग्राहक आहे. जो जन्मलेला नाहीये तो सुद्धा ग्राहक आहे आणि जो मेलेला आहे तो सुद्धा ग्राहक आहे. कारण त्याच्या क्रियाकर्मासाठी काही वस्तू घ्याव्या लागतात आणि त्यात जर फसवणूक झाली तर ग्राहकाची फसवणूक आहे. अर्थव्यवस्थेचे आम्ही पंचप्राण मानले. आम्ही असं म्हणतो की ग्राहक ही अर्थपुरुषाची कुंडलिनी आहे. तो ग्राहक सजग असला पाहिजे. ध्यान करताना, साधना करताना आपण त्या कुंडलिनी शक्तीला जागृत करतो. ग्राहक जागृत असला तर कल्याणकारी अर्थव्यवस्था पुढे येईल. ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्र या संस्थेकडे अनेक प्रकरणं येतात, अनेक तक्रारी येतात. आज 32 जिल्ह्यांमध्ये आम्ही काम करतो आहोत आणि आमचे 30-35 मार्गदर्शन केंद्र आहेत, ग्राहक मार्गदर्शन केंद्र. स्वातंत्र्याचा अमृत महोत्सव आपण साजरा करतो आहोत मित्रांनो, आणि आम्ही असं ठरवलंय की या वर्षामध्ये 24 डिसेंबर 2022 पर्यंत 75 ग्राहक मार्गदर्शन सेवा केंद्र आम्ही उभे करणार आहोत महाराष्ट्रात. ग्राहक मार्गदर्शन सेवा केंद्र काय करतायत? ग्राहक जो ज्याची फसवणूक झाली आहे तो येतो, तो चौकशी करतो, माझी अशी फसवणूक झाली आहे, मला इथं असं नाडल्या गेलो, मी वस्तू घेतली, मला कमी मिळालं, जे काही तक्रार असेल. आमच्याकडे ह्याच्यामधले एक्सपर्ट लोक आहेत या विषयातले. समजा तुमच्याकडे विजेचं बिल जास्त येत आहे, तर वीज मंडळातून रिटायर्ड झालेले अधिकारी आमचे सदस्य आहेत, ते ग्राहक मार्गदर्शन सेवा केंद्रामध्ये बसतात. ठराविक दिवस आहे, ठराविक वेळ आहे, त्या दिवशी वीज संबंधित तक्रारी मार्गदर्शन करण्यात येतील. मग ते सांगतात की तुम्ही यांना भेटलं पाहिजे, त्यांना भेटलं पाहिजे, तुम्ही असं पत्र लिहिलं पाहिजे. पण कसल्याही परिस्थितीत आम्ही तुमचं वकील पत्र घेऊन तुमच्यासाठी लढत बसू असं काम आम्ही करत नाही. कारण आमची धारणा वेगळी आहे. आम्ही तुमचे प्रश्न सोडवण्यासाठी नाहीयेत, आम्ही तुम्हाला मार्गदर्शन करू, त्याप्रमाणे तुम्ही काम करावं. आपल्याला कदाचित कल्पना नसेल, आपण कधी एवढ्या बारकाईनं पाहत नाही. आपण पेट्रोल भरतो, डिझेल भरतो. काही वर्षाखाली पेट्रोलच्या पंपातून पेट्रोल आमच्या गाडीमध्ये येत आहे का गाडीतल्या टाकीतलं पेट्रोल पंपामध्ये परत जातं हे कुणाला माहिती आहे? आम्ही जर म्हणत असू की आम्ही ग्राहक आहे, आम्हाला वजन दिसलं पाहिजे, तोलून मोपून आम्ही घेतलं पाहिजे, वजन काटा आम्ही केला पाहिजे, जी सेवा आम्ही घेतली ती व्यवस्थित मिळाली पाहिजे, मग पेट्रोल आणि डिझेलच्या बाबतीमध्ये हा विचार आमच्या मनाला कधीच शिवला नाही. आमची शेकडो पत्र गेली पेट्रोलियम मंत्रालयाला 2-3 वर्षाखाली. आणि त्याचा परिणाम म्हणून आपण पाहतो आहोत की जेव्हा तुम्ही पेट्रोल पंपावर जाता तेव्हा ते नोझल तुमच्या टाकीमध्ये सोडल्यानंतर तिथं एक काचेची स्लीट बसवलेली आहे आणि त्यामध्ये एक चाक फिरतं. म्हणजे पेट्रोल पंपातून तुमच्या टाकीत येतंय, त्याशिवाय त्या पेट्रोल पंपावर दाखवलेले आकडे फिरत नाहीत हे तरी तुम्हाला लक्षात येईल. हे काम ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्राने केलेलं आहे. शेकडो पत्र आमच्या कार्यकर्त्यांनी पाठवलेली आहेत. आम्ही अजून एक काम करतो आहोत. या 24 डिसेंबर 2022 पर्यंत म्हणजे 15 मार्च जागतिक ग्राहक दिनापासून राष्ट्रीय ग्राहक दिन 24 डिसेंबर 2022 पर्यंत आमचे जवळपास 450 कार्यकर्ते, तसे आम्ही 722 कार्यकर्ते आमच्याकडे एनरोल्ड आहेत. माझी आपल्या सगळ्यांना विनंती आहे, ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्र या संस्थेसोबत आपण जोडले जा. काही सदस्यता शुल्क नाहीये, परंतु आपल्यासारखी जर मंडळी या संस्थेला जर जोडली गेली, जर विद्यार्थी या संस्थेला जोडले गेले तर त्यांच्या आयुष्यामध्ये ग्राहक दृष्टी जागृत होईल. उद्या एखादी वस्तू घ्यायची आहे, एखादी सेवा घ्यायची आहे, आपण जरा बारकाईने विचार करू. आपण मोठ्या परिश्रमाने पैसे जमवलेले असतात, ते वाया घालवायचे का? कुणी आम्हाला येईल टपली मारून जाईल असं चालेल का? आम्हाला जर विश्ववंदिता भारत उभा करायचा असेल तर पुढची पिढी आम्हाला सजग केली पाहिजे. म्हणून आज काय झालंय की खूप धावपळ झाली आहे. 1 रुपया 2 रुपया कुठे आपण फसवलं गेलो तर आपल्याला तिकडे वेळ नाहीये लक्ष द्यायला. कोण जाईल, कोण काय करेल, अहो पण सगळं आता तुमच्या मोबाईलवर अवलंबून आहे. तुम्ही BIS ला तक्रार करू शकता. केंद्र सरकारचा टोल फ्री नंबर आहे, राज्य सरकारचा टोल फ्री नंबर आहे. कुठे जावं लागत नाही, कुठे यावं लागत नाही. घरी बसल्या बसल्या तक्रार आपण दाखल करू शकतो. अनेक सुधारणा कायद्यामध्ये होऊ घातलेल्या आहेत. आता जो 2019ला जे अमेंडमेंट झाले आणि त्याचं इम्प्लिमेंटेशन आता 6 महिन्यापूर्वी झालंय. कायदा ग्राहक संरक्षण कायदा 1986 हा अत्यंत अप्रतिम कायदा झालेला आहे. कुठे घरात बसून तुम्हाला सगळ्या गोष्टी करता येतील. ग्राहक पंचायतीचं एक अजून धोरण आहे की संवाद समन्वयात ग्राहक कल्याण. आमच्याकडे अनेक तक्रारी येतात. आम्ही तक्रार आली की त्याला पटकन म्हणत नाही की जा तू कंझ्युमर कोर्टामध्ये किंवा जा, त्याला आता नवीन नाव आलेलं आहे जिल्हा ग्राहक आयोग. 50 लाखापर्यंतची तक्रार तुम्हाला तुमच्या जिल्ह्याच्या ठिकाणी सोडवता येते. अगोदर काय व्हायचं, जिथं फसवणूक झाली तिथं जावं लागायचं. आता तसं नाहीये. समजा मी दिल्लीला गेलो आणि माझी फसवणूक झाली तर मी नांदेडहून ती तक्रार करू शकतो, कारण नांदेड हे माझं राहायचं गाव आहे. तुम्ही नाशिक मधून करू शकता, कुणी पंढरपूरहून करू शकेल, सोलापूरहून करू शकेल. जिल्ह्याच्या ठिकाणी हे जिल्हा ग्राहक आयोग आहे आणि ती सगळी व्यवस्था यंत्रणा वेगळी आहे. पॅरलल टू कोर्ट आहे. 90 दिवसामध्ये त्या ठिकाणी तुम्हाला न्याय मिळाला पाहिजे अशी त्यामध्ये अपेक्षा आहे. आमचे ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्र ही संवादावर जास्त भर देते. दोघांना आम्ही एकत्र बसवतो. कुठल्या आता 15 दिवसाखालची गोष्ट आहे. आमच्या एका जिल्ह्यामध्ये काय झालं की एका विद्यार्थ्याने 1250 रुपयाची जीन्सची पॅन्ट घेतली आणि तिचा रंग गेला महिन्याभरात. तो त्या दुकानदाराकडे गेला. दुकानदार म्हणाला मला काय कपड्याची गॅरंटी, मी माझ्या घरात थोडाच तयार होतो, मी त्याची गॅरंटी देत नाही. तो विद्यार्थी ग्राहक मार्गदर्शन सेवा केंद्रामध्ये आला. आमच्या कार्यकर्त्यांनी सांगितलं तुझी एक तक्रार दे, तुझ्या बिलाची त्याची एक झेरॉक्स कॉपी दे. त्या दुकानदाराला पत्र पाठवलं की एका महिन्याच्या आत 1200 रुपये खर्च केलेल्या जीन्सच्या पॅन्टचा जर रंग जात असेल आणि ती विद्रूप दिसतीये, म्हणजे रंग गेला म्हणजे एकदमच पांढरी झाली का अशी नाही, कुठे गडद कुठे फेंट अशी ती डाग पडले. आपण कंपनीला लिहावं, ग्राहकाला सांगावं आणि आम्हाला असं वाटतंय की ग्राहकाची यात फसवणूक झाली आहे. आपण त्याच्याशी चर्चा करा, त्याला न्याय मिळवून दिला पाहिजे. आणि आपल्याला आश्चर्य वाटेल, दुकानदाराने आमच्या पत्रावरून त्या विद्यार्थ्याला बोलावलं आणि त्याचे 1200 रुपये परत केले. 1200 रुपये ही किंमत जरी तशी रुपये जरी कमी असले, आज आपण सोनं घेतो, चांदी घेतो, त्यामध्ये किती ठिकाणी फसवल्या जातो. अहो, जेव्हा काही वर्षाखाली 15 वर्षाखाली कॅरेटोमीटर पहिल्यांदा पुण्यामध्ये आणला आणि ग्राहक तीर्थ बिंदू माधव जोशींनी कॅरेटोमीटर खाली सोनं तपासण्याचा शुभारंभ करताना पुण्याचे पोलीस आयुक्तांना बोलावलं. त्याचं उद्घाटन करताना आयुक्तांच्या मिसेसचे दागिने जेव्हा तपासले तेव्हा ते बरोबर प्युरिटी निघाली नाही. म्हणजे पहा तुम्ही की पोलीस आयुक्तांच्या घरामध्ये जाणारं सोनं सुद्धा ते इम्प्युअर आहे, त्यामध्ये फसवणूक झालेली आहे. आपल्यासारख्या सामान्य माणसाचं काय? कमी पैशामध्ये कमी श्रमामध्ये जास्तीत जास्त धन मिळावं ही एक विकृती आहे. सगळे व्यापारी आहेत असे असं मला म्हणायचं नाहीये, पण काही ठिकाणी ही विकृती आहे. आज आपण MRP बद्दल बोलतो, मॅक्सिमम रिटेल प्राइस. वस्तूची जास्तीत जास्त किरकोळ विक्रीची किंमत आहे ती. समजा पेन आहे, पेन जर 10 रुपयाचा असेल तर मी 8 रुपयाला का नाही मागू? आम्हाला वाटतं MRP म्हणजे आता त्याच्यापेक्षा कमी मागता येत नाही, असं नाहीये. MRP पेक्षा जास्त न देणं हे आपला अधिकार आहे, हे कर्तव्य आहे. पण MRP पेक्षा कमी आपण मागू शकतो. त्रिसूत्री ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्राची आहे. उत्पादनात वाढ झाली पाहिजे, वितरणात समानता आली पाहिजे आणि उपभोगावर संयम असला पाहिजे. हे जे तिसरं सूत्र आहे ना, आपल्याला असं वाटेल की उपभोगावर संयम म्हणजे माझ्याकडे पैसे आहेत, मी का नको वस्तू घ्यायला? हा तर सामान्य नियम झाला. ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्र किंवा भारतातलं ग्राहक चळवळ जी आहे, जी ग्राहक तीर्थ बिंदू माधव जोशींनी शिकवली, ती उपभोगावर संयम शिकवणारी आहे. 1992 ला युनायटेड नेशन्स ऑर्गनायझेशननी हे जे तिसरं सूत्र आहे उपभोगावर संयम, त्याचं कौतुक केलेलं आहे. भारतासारख्या देशामध्ये एक ग्राहक चळवळ चालती आणि त्यांचं तिसरं सूत्र उपभोगावर संयम आहे, याचं कौतुक केलं. आणि जेव्हा बराक ओबामांनी शपथ घेतली, आपल्याला त्यांचं पहिलं भाषण जर आपण ऐकलं असेल तर त्या भाषणातलं एक वाक्य माझ्या अंतःकरणावर कोरून ठेवलेलं आहे की चंगळवादानी या देशाची अर्थव्यवस्था बिघडवली. 0% फायनान्सवर मिळतंय, प्रोसेसिंग फीस नाहीये, दुसऱ्यांनी घेतलंय म्हणून मला मिळालं पाहिजे, एकावर एक फ्री मिळते म्हणून मला मिळालं पाहिजे, अशी धारणा आपल्याला ठेवून चालणार नाही. ग्राहक दृष्टी हा एक मोठा विषय आहे. मला या वेबिनारच्या द्वारे विचार मांडण्यासाठी आज उशीर झाला आपला वेबिनार चालू व्हायला, पण मला निश्चित एक गोष्ट सांगावीशी वाटेल की विद्यार्थ्यांनी, स्टाफनी आणि जी मंडळी हे सगळं पाहतील त्या सगळ्यांनी ग्राहक पंचायत या संस्थेसोबत जोडलं पाहिजे. ग्राहकांसाठी काम करण्यासाठी आपण कोण करणार हे काम, मला तुम्ही सांगा. आपल्याला यामध्ये काहीतरी इंटरेस्ट आहे, कारण आपण सगळे, पुन्हा मी एकदा म्हणतो की आपण एका जातीचे आहोत, कारण आपल्याला कळवळ आहे या देशाबद्दल, या समाजाबद्दल. म्हणून या देशाच्या स्वातंत्र्याचा अमृत महोत्सव साजरा करत असताना ग्राहक पंचायतनी 75 मार्गदर्शन सेवा केंद्र, ग्राहक मार्गदर्शन सेवा केंद्र 24 डिसेंबर 2022 पर्यंत उभी करण्याचा संकल्प घेतला. आज आमच्याकडे 30-32 मार्गदर्शन सेवा केंद्र आहे. प्रत्येक कार्यकर्ता, 450 कार्यकर्त्यांनी व्रत घेतलंय की मी किमान 5 शाळा महाविद्यालयांमध्ये जाईल. 9वी आणि 10वीला अर्थशास्त्रामध्ये ग्राहक संरक्षण हा एक धडा आहे, एक चॅप्टर आहे. आमची फसवणूक कुठे नाही झाली पाहिजे. आम्हाला जो माल आम्ही घेऊ तो बरोबर आमच्या पैशाचा मिळाला पाहिजे, वजन बरोबर आलं पाहिजे, अशी संकल्पना घेऊन, प्रबोधन करून ग्राहकांचं संघटन करता आलं पाहिजे. अनेक व्यापाऱ्यांच्या संघटना आहेत, किरकोळ व्यापाऱ्यांच्या संघटना आहेत, होलसेल व्यापाऱ्यांच्या संघटना आहेत. ग्राहकांचं संघटन कुठे आहे? अहो, जो नाडला जातो, ज्याचं शोषण होत आहे, त्याचं संघटन कुठे? मला जर कुठे काही तक्रार करायची असेल तर माझ्यासोबत समजा तिकिटाबद्दल माझी काही तक्रार आहे, किती प्रवासी माझ्यासोबत उभे राहतील? आम्हाला काय वाटतं की अरे कुठे याच्याशी हुज्जत करत बसला तुम्ही, आम्हाला जायला वेळ होत आहे, आम्हाला उशीर होतोय, म्हणून आपण दुर्लक्ष करतो. परंतु म्हातारी मेल्याचं दुःख नाहीये, काळ सोकावतो, ही जी म्हण आहे ही आपण लक्षात घेतली पाहिजे. आपल्याला कदाचित कल्पना असेल की प्रत्येक जिल्ह्याला ग्राहक संरक्षण परिषद आहे. जिल्हाधिकारी त्याचे अध्यक्ष आहेत, जिल्हा पुरवठा अधिकारी हे त्याचे सचिव आहेत. ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्राचे अनेक कार्यकर्ते ग्राहक संरक्षण परिषदेवर आहेत, जिल्हा ग्राहक आयोगावर आहेत, आणि ग्राहक संरक्षण परिषदेवर अनेक प्रश्न, सार्वजनिक स्वरूपाचे प्रश्न मांडण्याचं काम आम्ही करतो आहोत. अशा प्रकारचं काम आपल्याला आनंद देणार आहे आणि ते आपण करावं असं मला आजच्या या वेबिनारच्या दिवशी आपल्याला मुद्दाम सांगावं वाटतं. ग्राहक मार्गदर्शन सेवा केंद्र ही संकल्पना आम्ही रुजवलेली आहे. अनेक जिल्ह्यांमध्ये ही मार्गदर्शन सेवा केंद्र आहेत आणि अशा एका चळवळीशी काही थोडंफार समाजाचं काम आपण केलेलं आहे. समाजाचं काम केलं, समाज राष्ट्र उभा राहील अशी एक संकल्पना घेऊन आपण पुढे आलं पाहिजे. आता सध्या ऑनलाईन खरेदीचा फार मोठा जमाना आलेला आहे आणि ऑनलाईन खरेदीमध्ये फसवणूक खूप मोठ्या प्रमाणात होतीये. आपण हे सगळं करत असताना किती सजग असलं पाहिजे, वस्तूच्या किमतीची खातरजमा केली पाहिजे, वस्तूची रिटर्न पॉलिसी तपासली पाहिजे, योग्य पेमेंटचा पर्याय आपल्याला निवडता आला पाहिजे. अनेक घटना आहेत अशा ज्या आमच्याकडे आम्ही सोडवत असतो नेहमी. एखादी आमच्या आता एक 2 महिन्याखालची गोष्ट आहे. आमच्या एका विद्यार्थी मित्रांनी काही ऑनलाईन परचेस केलं आणि तो OTP शेअर करत असताना त्याच्या अकाउंट मधले 42,000 रुपये निघून गेले ते पेमेंट करत असताना. आपली माहिती कमीत कमी इंटरनेटवर देता आली पाहिजे. मोबाईल वापरत असल्यास आपण काही जबाबदारी काळजी घेतली पाहिजे. त्यानंतर मागवण्यात जेव्हा आपण काही एखादं पार्सल मागवतो, एखादी वस्तू मागवतो, तेव्हा ते ओपन करत असताना, उघडत असताना त्याचा व्हिडिओ काढून आपण ठेवला पाहिजे. पब्लिक वायफायचा वापर आपण कमीत कमी केला पाहिजे. आपल्याला डिजिटल लॉक आपल्या मोबाईलला असलं पाहिजे. आपला कुठलाही पिन, आपला कुठलाही OTP, आपला कुठलाही CVV नंबर आपण हे कुणालाही देता कामा नये. अनेक जशा जशा काय म्हणू आपण सुविधा पुढे येत आहेत तसे तसे फसवणुकीचे प्रकार सुद्धा वाढलेले आहेत. आपण सगळ्यांनी सजग व्हायला पाहिजे. कुठलाही व्यवहार करत असताना 6 गोष्टी आपण पाहिल्या पाहिजेत. एखादी वस्तू घेताना जी पॅकेज कमोडिटी ज्याला आपण म्हणतो, उत्पादक कोण आहे, त्याची एक्सपायरी कधी आहे, त्याच्यावर कस्टमर केअर नंबर आहे का, त्याचं वजन किती आहे आणि त्यावर किंमत किती आहे. या 6 गोष्टी आपण बघितल्या पाहिजेत. अनेक शासकीय यंत्रणा ग्राहकाची फसवणूक होऊ नये म्हणून कार्यरत आहेत. पण आपणच जर बेसावध असलो तर यंत्रणा काय करेल. म्हणून ग्राहकांना ग्राहक दृष्टी देण्यासाठी, ग्राहकांचं प्रबोधन होण्यासाठी ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्र दरवर्षी राज्य पातळीवरची एक सभा बोलावते. अनेक वक्त्यांना त्या ठिकाणी बोलावून त्यांचं मार्गदर्शन प्राप्त करून घेते. लोकांना, ग्राहकांना आणि समाजाला, पब्लिक ऍट लार्ज कंझ्युमर आय दिला पाहिजे अशी धारणा घेऊन ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्र काम करते. आणि ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्राचं हे काम नटशेल मध्ये सार रूपाने आपल्या समोर मांडण्याची संधी आज आम्हाला या ठिकाणी मिळाली. त्याबद्दल मी मराठा विद्या प्रसारक समाज या शिक्षण संस्थेच्या कर्मवीर रावसाहेब थोरात यांनी जी संस्था उभी केली, बहुजन हिताय बहुजन सुखाय हे धोरण घेऊन डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ कॉमर्स, कर्मवीर शांताराम बापू कोंडाजी वावरे कॉलेज यांनी हा वेबिनार घडवून आणला. त्यासाठी आपल्या सगळ्या व्यासपीठ चालकांचे, महाविद्यालयाच्या कार्यकारिणीचे मी धन्यवाद मानतो, आभार मानतो. आणि ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्राची कार्यप्रणाली, ग्राहक दृष्टी, ग्राहक सजग झाला पाहिजे यासाठी आपण सगळ्यांनी मिळून प्रयत्न केले पाहिजेत. त्यासाठी आपण भविष्यातही अनेक उपक्रम राबवता येतील. आपल्या सगळ्यांना पुनश्च एकदा धन्यवाद देतो. नमस्कार.
धन्यवाद सर. खूप छान माहिती मिळाली. विशेषतः ग्राहक म्हणून काय केलं पाहिजे आणि ग्राहक मंचाचं कार्य कशा पद्धतीने चालतं याबद्दल तुम्ही खूप छान माहिती दिलेली आहे. माझा एक प्रश्न असा होता की आपण जेव्हा एक ग्राहक म्हणून बघतो तर जसं वस्तूंमध्ये वाढ झालेली आहे तशी सेवांमध्ये पण वाढ झालेली आहे. तर आणि घर म्हटलं म्हणजे अनेक गोष्टी तिथे येतात. विशेषतः इलेक्ट्रिक फिटिंग झाले किंवा प्लंबिंगचं काम झालं तर मग ह्या सेवा पण ग्राहक मंचाच्या अंतर्गत येतात का आणि यांचे काही म्हणजे दर वगैरे ठरवलेले आहेत का किंवा या संदर्भात ग्राहक मंचाचे म्हणजे काय काम करते.
नाही, आता प्लंबिंग आहे किंवा इलेक्ट्रिकल, आपल्याला उदाहरण धरून चला की माझ्या घरातली मला वायरिंग बदलायची आहे, याच्यासाठी काही दर वगैरे असे ठरलेले नसतात. आता ते काम मला दोघा चौघांना कॉन्ट्रॅक्टरला बोलावून केबल मी देईन, वायर मी देईन किंवा तू आणशील का, कुठल्या क्वालिटीची वायर आणणार, या सगळ्या गोष्टी आपण तपासून त्याच्याशी कॉन्ट्रॅक्ट केलं पाहिजे. त्याच्याशी काही लिखापडी करून एक कागद तयार केला पाहिजे आणि त्याप्रमाणे आपण काम करून घेतलं पाहिजे. सेवा आणि वस्तू या सगळ्या ग्राहकाभिमुख आहेत आणि ग्राहक संरक्षण कायद्यामध्ये याचा अंतर्भाव झालेला आहे. समजा काम करत असताना जर ठरलंय की ISI मार्किंग एक ठराविक नंबर दिलेला आहे, तीच केबल वापरण्यात येईल आणि ती जर केबल त्यांनी वापरलेली नसेल. आता माझं एक उदाहरण सांगतो. मी 2012ला माझं घर मी बांधलं आणि ती एक कॉपर प्लेट असते की ते सगळा तो जो काही कधी काय म्हणतो त्याला स्पार्किंग झालं किंवा काही लोड कमी जास्त झाला तर तो लोड ऍब्सॉर्ब करण्यासाठी जमिनीमध्ये त्या तार घेऊन ती तार त्या कॉपर प्लेटला जोडलेली असते. आता ती कॉपर प्लेट 2,500 रुपयांची होती. मला बरोबर काय केलं, मी कसा म्हणजे ग्राहक चळवळीचा कार्यकर्ता म्हणून माझ्या हे लक्षात आलं. मला त्यांनी काय सांगितलं की 1-2 किलो मीठ घेऊन या घरून. तोपर्यंत त्यांनी मला सांगितलं नव्हतं. मी घरी आणायला मीठ गेलो, बाजूला माझं मी राहतं घर होतं आणि मी येईपर्यंत त्यांनी माती वगैरे टाकली आणि पुन्हा ते मीठ टाकलं. मी म्हणलं अरे तुम्ही मीठ मला त्या प्लेटला टाकायला सांगितलं होतं ना, प्लेटला लावायचं. ते म्हणले नाही नाही, प्लेट मध्ये घातलीये, मातीवर ही मीठ घालायचे. मला जरा डाऊट आला. मी म्हटलं बघू मला प्लेट दाखवा आणि आश्चर्य असं आहे की तिथं प्लेटच नव्हती. म्हणजे आज 2,500 रुपयांची माझी फसवणूक होण्यापेक्षा महत्वाचं काय आहे की समजा उद्या जी सिक्युरिटी लाइटनिंग झाल्यानंतर किंवा लोड कमी जास्त झाल्यानंतर जी माझ्या घराला सिक्युरिटी पाहिजे होती ती मिळाली नसती. अशी फसवणूक होऊ शकते. 1 किलो तेल आपण आणतो आहोत का 1 लिटर आणतो आहोत हे आपल्याला पाहिलं पाहिजे. मी तुम्हाला उदाहरणं दिली की जाहिराती असतात त्यामध्ये आपली फसवणूक होऊ शकते, पण हे सगळे विषय आपल्याला ग्राहक न्यायालयामध्ये ग्राहक आयोगा पहिल्यांदा आपण काय केलं पाहिजे, ग्राहक पंचायत संस्थेकडे गेलं पाहिजे. संवाद समन्वयात ग्राहक कल्याण चर्चा करून मार्ग निघू शकतो ना, त्यातून सोल्युशन निघू शकतं. त्यानंतर ग्राहक संरक्षण परिषद आहे. प्रत्येक जिल्ह्याच्या ठिकाणी ही ग्राहक संरक्षण परिषद आहे. सार्वजनिक स्वरूपाचे सगळे प्रश्न, रस्ता खराब आहे, फोन बंद पडलेत, लाईट वारंवार जातात, असे प्रश्न तिथं मांडता येतात. आणि नाही तर मग जिल्हा ग्राहक आयोगामध्ये 50 लाख रुपयांपर्यंत आपल्याला दाद मागता येते आपल्या जिल्ह्याच्या ठिकाणी.
धन्यवाद सर, खूप छान माहिती दिलेली आहे. मी माझे सहकारी श्रीमती रेविता जाधव यांना विनंती करते की त्यांनी या सेशनचा आभार मानावं, म्हणजे आपलं फर्स्ट सेशन संपूर्ण होईल. श्रीमती रेविता जाधव.
On behalf of KSKW Arts Science Commerce College, Sidco Commerce Department, I express my grateful towards Honorable Dr. Vijay Lad sir for accepting our invitation to be resource person for today online webinar consumer protection on. Definitely we are using your valuable points and things. Once again you are giving for the valuable time sir. सरांनी खूप चांगल्या प्रकारे आपल्याला कन्झ्युमर प्रोटेक्शनच्या संदर्भात समजून सांगितले. त्यातली त्रिसूत्रीमधला संयमी ग्राहक तसेच वस्तू खरेदी करताना सांगितले गेलेले 6 पॉइंट्स, त्याचबरोबर फसवणूक झाल्यानंतर आपण कुठे तक्रार करावी, आपले प्रश्न कुठे मांडावे या संदर्भात सरांनी खूप चांगल्या प्रकारे आपल्याला माहिती दिली. सरांनी स्पीच दिलं त्याच्याबद्दल थँक्यू सर.
धन्यवाद.
Dhanyawad sir. Now we are coming to the technical session second. Once again, a good morning to all of you and welcome to all the resource persons and online participants of national webinar on consumer protection. Now we coming to our second technical session of today's webinar, and the guest of this session is Mr. Biswajit K. Biswal sir, State Secretary of Grahak Panchayat, Odisha. Now I request to my colleague Ms. Rupali Jadhav ma'am to introduce Mr. Biswal sir as a resource person of second technical session. Over to Rupali Jadhav ma'am.
We are glad to introduce our today's webinar eminent personalities as a resource person for the second session, Mr. Biswajit K. Biswal. He is a General Secretary, Grahak Panchayat, Odisha. He is an associate professor in zoology at Anchalika College, Angul, Odisha. He is presently nominated by Government of Odisha as a member of the Examination and Executive Committee of 10 Plus Council of Higher Secondary Education, Bhubaneswar, Odisha. And he involved in a research work in the environment and formerly a Vice President of Student Union of Madhusudan Law College, Cuttack. And during the studentship in law, he had failed in patient before the State Consumer Residential Forum, Odisha, Cuttack, and regarding deficiency in service to the student by the principal for their litigation claim. And Honorable Court passed a historic judgment that the students are consumer as they are paying money to the college with proper receipt. And he is actively involved in the consumer organization named as Akhil Bharatiya Grahak Panchayat since 1994 by the inspiration of Bindu Madhav Joshi, and who is a founder of consumer movement in India. He had started his active participation in consumer organization from Mahanagar to Zilla and then became the state organizing secretary of Akhil Bharatiya Grahak Panchayat, Odisha from 2006 to 2012. And he was also the member of National Executive Committee in the same duration. And he became the General Secretary of Grahak Panchayat, Odisha from 2012 until now. And he is actively involved in creating awareness among consumers about their rights and responsibilities, and for the same purpose, one consumer awareness newspaper named as Grahak Shakti is being published monthly under his guidance since 2011 in Odia language. So welcome sir. I request to express your views to theme of the webinar.
Thank you, madam. Good morning to everybody. And respected Principal, Madam J.D. Sonakaskar, and all the staff of the Santaram Bapu Kundaji College, Nasik, and the participants, and Dr. Larji, and all the staff of the college. Actually, this is one auspicious day for myself to attend this webinar on World Consumer Day. And I am also grateful to the organizer who has invited me to deliver my speech in this consumer awareness forum. Actually, आज जिसने महाराष्ट्र से उड़ीसा आकर मेरा हाथ पकड़कर ग्राहक जागरूक करने के लिए मुझे सिखाया था, उन महान आत्मा को मैं शत नमन करता हूँ। जो बीज बोए थे आज वही द्रुम बनकर उनके प्रांत में ग्राहक के बारे में बोलने के लिए साहस जुटा पा रहा हूँ। एक छोटा सा स्मृति याद आ रहा है। 2012 में उड़ीसा से लौटने के समय ट्रेन में बैठकर नाना जी मुझे एक लिफाफा दिया, और जब मैंने घर आकर उस लिफाफा को खोला तो उसमें 1000 रुपये के साथ लिखा था, ये मेरी तरफ से एक छोटा सा पुरस्कार है जो मैंने मेरे पेंशन पैसा से दिया है। ग्राहक संगठित करने के कार्य में आगे बढ़ते जाओ, नाना जी आपके साथ है, वो मैसेज था। उसी समय उनके साथ डॉक्टर लाड जी भी, विजय लाड जी और अजय भोसरकर जी उपस्थित थे। आज वो नाना जी नहीं है, लेकिन डॉक्टर लाड जी उपस्थित है। उसी दिन जिसने मुझे महाराष्ट्र घुमाया, आज उनके प्रेरणा से वेबिनार के माध्यम से उपस्थित हूँ, तो कुछ बोलने के लिए। नाउ आई एम सेंडिंग PPT, so I am requesting everybody to see the PPT. Some photos and some important informations are in the PPT and the photograph of नाना जी। तो विश्व ग्राहक दिवस हर साल 15 मार्च को पालन किया जाता है, क्योंकि शोषित पीड़ित ग्राहक जन के लिए, उनको जागरूक करने के लिए वो हमने पालन करते हैं। अमेरिका में जब वर्ण भेदभाव चल रहा था, उसी समय अधिकार के बारे में प्रश्न उठा था। ग्राहक शब्द हमारा देश में नया नहीं है, क्योंकि प्राचीन काल में होटल का अर्थशास्त्र में इसका उल्लेख हो। गणतंत्र में जैसे वोटर की भूमिका गुरुत्वपूर्ण है, अर्थतंत्र में ग्राहक की भूमिका अत्यंत जरूरी है। लगभग 75 वर्ष के बाद, साल के बाद, 75 इयर्स के आफ्टर 75 इयर्स आर्थिक व्यवस्था ठीक रास्ता पे नहीं चल रहा है, तो अर्थतंत्र में कृषक, श्रमिक, व्यवसाय, उद्योगपति और ग्राहक, वो 5 अंग है। लाड जी बताया इसके बारे में। तो 5 के अंदर अगर कोऑर्डिनेशन और समन्वय नहीं रहेगा तो क्या होगा? अगर रहेगा तो एक कल्याणकारी अर्थनीति बनेगा। ग्राहक के लिए विद्युत, जल, यातायात, रेल, बस, पोस्ट ऑफिस इत्यादि जो सर्विस प्रोवाइडर ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है, उनका सृष्टि हुआ है। अगर ग्राहक नहीं तो उनका कोई अस्तित्व, उनका भी अस्तित्व नहीं रहे। इसलिए ग्राहक को राजा की पदवी दिया गया है। द कंज्यूमर इज द किंग पिन ऑफ द डेमोक्रेसी। कंज्यूमर इज द किंग। हर व्यक्ति, चाहे वो व्यवसायी, कृषक, वो कर्मचारी, वो सब ग्राहक है, क्योंकि सवेरे उठने के बाद वो शरीर के लिए, शरीर के आवश्यकता के लिए वो कुछ ना कुछ द्रव्य बाजार से खरीद करते हैं। मैं ग्राहक पंचायत से सन 1994 से काम कर रहा हूँ। माननीय बिंदु माधव जोशी जी जब 1994 से एक ग्राहक जागरण परिक्रमा है, देश भर उनका जो परिक्रमा, ग्राहक जागरण परिक्रमा हुआ, वो देश भर से हुआ। वो ग्राहक जागरण परिक्रमा हमारा कटक से, उड़ीसा, वो 24 सितंबर को आया उड़ीसा कटक से, और कटक में एक प्रोग्राम हुआ, एक कंज्यूमर अवेयरनेस ग्राहक जागरण प्रोग्राम वो हुआ। उसी समय हमारा उड़ीसा प्रांत में काम शुरू हुआ। उसी पहले हमको ये मालूम नहीं था क्या ग्राहक है, ग्राहक पंचायत का काम क्या है, क्या एक्सप्लॉइटेड कंज्यूमर है, उसी हमको मालूम नहीं था। तो उसी समय हम काम में लग गए। हमने हमारा दोस्त, हमारा जो कंटेम्पररी समभावापन्न जो लोग, हमारा समभावापन्न लोग को लेकर एक ग्राहक पंचायत उड़ीसा का निर्माण किया, नया ग्राहक पंचायत उड़ीसा का निर्माण किया है। और जिले में और नगर में, महानगर में और प्रांत में उसी संगठन के लिए ग्राहक उसी संगठन आगे बढ़ने के लिए एक ग्राहक रचनात्मक प्रबोधन कार्यक्रम शुरू किया। तो क्योंकि हमारा कटक शहर में, महानगर में बहुत सारी समस्या थे, इस समस्या को हमने हमारा संगठन के माध्यम से निवारण किया था। पहले छोटी छोटी समस्या को एक मुट्ठी में लेकर हमने हल किया है, जिसके कारण हमारा मनोबल बढ़ गया। व्यक्तिगत समस्या, लोग का जो व्यक्तिगत समस्या था, और उस समस्या को हमने ग्राहक मार्गदर्शन सेवा केंद्र के जरिया में उनको हम रिड्रेस किया है, हम हल किया है। ग्राहक मार्गदर्शन केंद्र सेवा केंद्र एक कंज्यूमर रिड्रेसल सेंटर है। तो व्यक्तिगत समस्या लेकर जो लोग आते थे उनको हमारा साथ शामिल करके उनके समस्या का हल किया। और कार्यकर्ता कैसे जागरूक होना, इसलिए उनके लिए हमने रेगुलर मीटिंग, जो नियमित बैठक, जो ट्रेनिंग कैंप, 6 महीने और 3 महीने से एक ट्रेनिंग कैंप, और ग्राहक कंज्यूमर एजुकेशन, जो ग्राहक प्रबोधन कार्यक्रम हमने शुरू किया है। क्योंकि अगर हम एक व्यक्तिगत समस्या और एक समस्या को हल निवारण करने के लिए हमारा पास इंफॉर्मेशन चाहिए, नॉलेज चाहिए, बिकॉज इंफॉर्मेशन इज द नॉलेज एंड नॉलेज इज द पावर। तो कार्यकर्ता के भिन्न भिन्न समस्या के निवारण के लिए दायित्व बंटन हुआ। तो बंटन से पहले उन्होंने उस विषय पर बहुत अध्ययन किया है। संगठन के माध्यम से असंगठित ग्राहक संगठित हुए। वो जो असंगठित ग्राहक मतलब के हमारा रिक्शा पुलर होला, हमारा जो श्रमिक है, वो असंगठित ग्राहक, उनको संगठित करने के लिए हमने प्रयास शुरू कर दिया है। प्रशासन के ग्राहक विमुखी करने के लिए प्रशासक अधिकारी और साधारण जनता के बीच संपर्क बनाने के लिए एक ग्राहक जनवाणी कार्यक्रम हमने शुरू किया है। ग्राहक जनवाणी कार्यक्रम क्या है? तो ग्राहक जनवाणी कार्यक्रम एक स्थान पर हम बैठक उनको बुलाएं। सपोज हमारा ये प्रॉब्लम है, शहर में पानी का प्रॉब्लम है, अगर होल्डिंग टैक्स के प्रॉब्लम है, उस प्रॉब्लम को वो हल करने के लिए जितना हमारा लोग है उनको हमने बुलाया एक स्थान पर, एक विद्यालय में है और एक हॉल, कॉन्फ्रेंस हॉल में, और जो अधिकारी है उसका जो दायित्व में जो अधिकारी है उनको भी बुलाया। उस बैठक पर लोग बोलेंगे, लोग प्रॉब्लम पूछेंगे और अधिकारी उनको हल करेंगे। ऐसे हम जो जनवाणी कार्यक्रम शुरू किया है उसका अच्छा असर भी पड़ा है, और ग्राहक और साधारण और जनरल पब्लिक और जो एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव ऑफिसर्स उनका बीच में एक संपर्क बना, और जो मतभेद था वो मतभेद भी दूर हो गया। जनसाधारण को सचेतन करने के लिए हमने एक ग्राहक शक्ति की एक पत्रिका, ग्राहक शक्ति नाम का एक मासिक पत्रिका, न्यूज़पेपर वो छपा जाता है। हमने वो जो पीपीटी में हमने दिया है, ग्राहक शक्ति न्यूज़पेपर है। वो ग्राहक शक्ति न्यूज़पेपर 8 पेजेस के है और वो सब कंज्यूमर रिलेटेड न्यूज रहते हैं। तो हमने एक जो ग्राहक शक्ति अभी दिखा रहे हैं वो खाद्य सुरक्षा, फूड सिक्योरिटी, तो स्टैंडर्ड, व्हाट इज द फूड स्टैंडर्ड्स हमने दिया है, उसके बारे में लिखा है। और तो सेकंड पेज में हमने एक एडिटोरियल, ये थर्ड पेज है, सेकंड पेज में हमने एडिटोरियल लिखा है और नीचे से एक ग्राहक अभिमत। और थर्ड पेज में हमने एक लीगल केस, एक लीगल मैटर जो डिसीजन हुआ कंज्यूमर कोर्ट में, नेशनल कंज्यूमर फोरम और स्टेट कंज्यूमर फोरम उनको दिया है पीछे। हाँ। और एक ग्राहक जागरूक करने के लिए एक कविता वो भी दिया है, जागरूक करने के लिए। और सपोज अभी महंगाई है पेट्रोल और डीजल, उसके बारे में कविता है। और कभी कभी प्याज वो भी महंगा है, उनका भी कविता। और तो आर्टिकल सारा इंफॉर्मेशन कंज्यूमर गुड्स वो इंफॉर्मेशन हमें दे दिया है। और हेल्पलाइन नंबर है और एक कंज्यूमर क्विज भी है, कंज्यूमर क्विज है, लास्ट में कंज्यूमर क्विज है। और कंज्यूमर और लास्ट पेज में हमारा जो कार्यक्रम का ग्राहक पंचायत और ग्राहक शक्ति वो जो कार्यक्रम का वो न्यूज रहता है। और एक कार्टून भी, कंज्यूमर अवेयरनेस के लिए कार्टून वो भी लास्ट पेज में हमने पब्लिश कर रहा है। तो ग्राहक शक्ति वो जो न्यूज़पेपर ये हमारा बल है, क्योंकि ग्राहक के अधिकार अभिमत वो सब आता है ग्राहक शक्ति न्यूज़पेपर में। तो मैं जब अभी मैं बोल रहा कि छात्रों, हमने छात्र संघ के लॉ कॉलेज में जब वर्किंग प्रेसिडेंट थे, इसी समय एक घटना हुआ था। तो आपने तो खुलासा किया है, लेकिन उसी समय उसके पहले मैं जब छात्र था उसी समय ग्राहक संगठन का काम शुरू किया है। अभी तक मैंने काम कर रहा हूँ। और मैंने शांताराम बापू महाविद्यालय के जो नौजवान छात्र है पढ़ रहे हैं उनको मैं निवेदन करता हूँ, तो उनका पास असीम शक्ति है। तो वो जो शक्ति है वो शक्ति अभी अवचेतना रूप से, अनकॉन्शियस अवचेतना रूप से है। उनको जागरूक करने के लिए अभी समय आ चुके हैं और वो सामने आकर अभी वो जो संगठन काम करना शुरू कर देना चाहिए। मैं जब स्टूडेंट यूनियन का प्रेसिडेंट था, एक्चुअली उसी समय जो कॉलेज कैलेंडर और मैगजीन और ड्रामेटिक फंक्शन और सारा जो फंक्शन है उन्हें प्रिंसिपल नहीं किया है। मैंने उनको पत्र लिख कर दिया है और हमारा दोस्त को मिलाकर हमने पत्र लिखा, अकेला नहीं, दोस्त को मिलाकर पत्र लिखा है। तो प्रिंसिपल इनकार कर दिया है। तो हमारा जो डिमांड था इनकार कर दिया है। हमने उनको बोला है हमने आपको पैसा दिया है, लेकिन आपने हमको मैगजीन नहीं दिया है और कैलेंडर नहीं दिया है, और ड्रामेटिक फंक्शन ये भी फंक्शन अब नहीं कराए, लेकिन इसलिए उनको जो पत्र दिया है वो इनकार कर दिया है। तो माय फ्रेंड 8 number of students और मैं we have filed on consumer cases before the State Consumer Redressal Forum, Cuttack, Odisha, and the Consumer Redressal Forum, we filed the case in the year 1993, and the Consumer Court, the Consumer Forum passed a landmark decision on 1996. Now, what is the landmark decision? That is, students are consumer. एक अखबार में आया, students are consumers, and the principal has to pay 2,000 rupees fine compensation to the students for non-holding of the dramatic function or non-supply of the college calendar, magazine, and the president and all the 2 members of the State Consumer Redressal Forum, they ordered that as the students are consumer. How the students are consumer? Because they have paid the money in the college counter and they have got the receipt. So this amounts to deficiency in service and negligence duty on the part of the college authority. So they ordered to pay compensation rupees 2,000 rupees to the all these students. Otherwise, if any delay within 3 months, there is a time stipulation that was within 3 months, the principal has to pay. Or if any delay, it will carry 18% interest per annum. So these are the I have taken this initiation to fight against the corruption, और जो राइट था कंज्यूमर राइट, स्टूडेंट का राइट प्रिंसिपल मैंने नहीं दिया है, इसलिए हमने केस किया है। तो इसलिए एक्चुअली मैं और मेरा दोस्त वो भी हमने वकील नहीं दिया था कोर्ट में, हमने खुद कोर्ट में लड़ा, केस लड़ा। तो now I will discuss what are the different consumer rights. The consumer rights. Consumer rights, slide PPT. Okay. The consumer rights. Actually, there are 7 consumer rights. One right is right to safety. Right to safety. And right to choose, right to be informed, right to consumer education, right to be heard, right to seek redressal, and there is right to Consumer Protection Act. So right to safety. Right to safety means right to protect against the marketing of the goods and services which are hazardous to the life and property. So before purchasing, the consumer should insist on the quality of the product as well as the guarantee of the product and services. They should preferably purchase the quality marked by ISI, AGMARK, standard mark. So जिमती जैसे हॉलमार्क, तो गोल्ड के लिए हॉलमार्क, आगमार्क जो हमारा तेल आगमार्क, और ISO और FSS, AI, etc. So right to safety, the consumer should not buy any spurious or fake or duplicate or hazardous product. तो राइट टू सेफ्टी एक कंज्यूमर एक लीगल डिसीजन आया था कंज्यूमर राइट टू सेफ्टी के बारे में. तो कंज्यूमर प्रोटेक्शन एक्ट 1986 protect the interest of the consumers against the hazardous to life and property. An example, sometimes we are hesitating to purchase a platform ticket in the railway station, but it has been reported in the law journal that someone had gone to the railway station to say goodbye to his family members, and at that time he was bitten by a dog, kutta. So after that he filed a case before the consumer forum against the negligence and deficiency service of the railway department, because he has paid the money 5 rupees towards the platform ticket, but the forum ordered that the railway department is liable to compensate the petitioner as he has purchased a railway platform ticket, so that after purchasing the railway ticket he entered into the platform. So now it is the duty of the railway department, and the railway department is squarely responsible for the protection of the consumer. So he imposed fine against this deficiency in service. And second point, right to choose. So what to choose, what not to choose. So first we have to the consumer has every right to assure of the satisfactory quality and service at the fair price. And also the consumer has right, he can better exercise a competitive market where variety of the goods are available at competitive price. So third, right to be informed. Right to be informed. So now actually government has passed the Right to Inform Act 2005 in the year 2005 RTI. So right to inform, the consumer must be informed about the quality, quantity or potency or purity or the standard, etc. So the consumer should insist to get all the information from the shop or any market. So this will enable him to desist from the falling prey to high pressure of the selling techniques. Then next, right to consumer education. Right to consumer education. Consumer education, the consumer must look market review, feedback while purchasing the goods. And the consumer similarly inform the substandard of the goods or the standard of the goods. So the consumer has every right to acquire this knowledge. Then right to be heard. The consumer interest will receive due consideration at the appropriate forum. Suppose the company, suppose the consumers cheated by one shop or any market complex anywhere. Suppose the consumer have got the receipt, then the consumer can approach the different forum, district consumer redressal forum, state consumer redressal forum, and national redressal forum. So consumer can approach these different forums against unfair trade practices or unscrupulous exploitation of the consumers. So then right to be had. Right to be had, it can be, the consumer can approach any forum and the consumer court will decide the complaint. Then right to seek redressal. Of the redressal, the similar things. The consumer dispute redressal forum, they also, we can, the consumer can approach the different consumer redressal forum, district, state and national. Suppose the consumers are not fully aware how to approach the different forums, then the consumer can approach the registered consumer organization. That registered consumer, जैसे ग्राहक पंचायत महाराष्ट्र, ग्राहक पंचायत उड़ीसा, the consumer registered consumer organization can fight on behalf of the consumer or the complaint, so that before the court and for getting the justice. Then Consumer Protection Act 1986 empowered the consumers to get their right, and also there is some responsibility. Some responsibility are there. What are the responsibility? Consumers' responsibility. Next. Another thing, the right to seek redressal. Suppose the consumer approached one consumer forum, state or district or national forum. So the consumer forum can order the company either to correct the deficiency in the product or to repair the product but defect product free of charges, or replace the product with similar or superior product, issue a full refund of the price. The court can order, national or state or district, or pay compensation for damages, cost, or withdraw the sale of the product. Issue of the corrective advertisement. Sometimes there is misleading, exaggeration, advertising or publishing are being published by the different print media or electronic media, different product के लिए, लेकिन that is also false. Sometimes that is also false. That is exaggerated. That is misleading, and that has a bad impact on the child. So what are the responsibility? Consumer responsibility. The consumer should be alert. The consumer should ask yourself. खुद ही को क्वेश्चन प्रश्न पूछेंगे. So any problem occurred, the consumer has to analyze such problem. Then be critical aware. The responsibility to be more alert and to question more about prices, about quantity and quality and goods bought and service used. So you should more conscious. That is critical hour. Then be involved. The responsibility to be assertive, to ensure that you get a fair deal as a consumer. If the consumer will remain passive, then the consumer will be exploited. So consumer, while purchasing the goods, the consumer should be more alert, more informative. Before before purchasing the goods, the consumer should acquire knowledge before that, before going to the shop, market, anywhere. Then be organized. Suppose the consumer exploited by the or cheated by the shopkeeper, by the in the market. So the consumer, it is the duty of the consumer to join hands and raise voices as the consumers to fight in a collectively manner. So that collectively manner, if we fight in a collective manner, it will strengthen, it will strengthen your power, and also it will influence the unfair trade practices. Then practice sustainable consumption. The responsibility to be aware of the impact of your consumption on other citizens. What are the disadvantages for the powerless groups, and to consume based needs, what are not wants. Then be responsible to the environment. You know, environment plays an important role. It is the duty of the every consumers to save the environment, and the responsibility the consumer should aware, should understand about the environment consequence of our consumption. If we will consume more beyond our need, if we will consume more beyond our need. Suppose I want 1 glass of milk. If we will consume 2 glasses of milk, 3 glasses of milk, so naturally it will impact our environment. So to conserve our natural resources, we should use according to our need, so that we can protect our earth for future generation. Then the differences between the Consumer Protection Bill 1986 and 2019. Actually, the Consumer Protection Act was passed by the Government of India in the year 1986, and it was amended. The bill was amended in the year 2019, which was introduced in the Lok Sabha by the Minister of the Consumer Affairs, Food and Civil Supply, and it was passed. The minister was Ramvilas Paswan. It was passed on 8 July 2009. The bill replaces some lacunas of the Consumer Protection Act 1986, and it strengthens the consumers to get their rights. The right, what are the differences? What are the new points added in the Consumer Protection Amendment Bill 2019? Actually, the Consumer Protection Act 1986 was very narrow in scope. It covers only 6 types of the unfair trade practices and deceptive practices. Whereas Consumer Protection Act 2019 is broader in scope, and it adds more than 3 new unfair trade practices. What are the 3 new unfair trade practices? Manufacturing or offering spurious goods, one for sale. So manufacturing or offering spurious goods for sale. Second, Second, not issuing proper cash memo. Third, refusing to withdraw the defective goods. So, one shopkeeper has to be issued proper cash memo to the consumers. It is mandatory. So, second point, the CPA Act 1986, where there are no provision for product quality, while the new act contains the provision for product liability. And third, the CPA 1986, where there were no provision for unfair contacts, while the new act contains provision for unfair contacts. Number 4, there are no provision for e-commerce. Actually, this provision was not in the Act 1986, and direct selling of the old direct selling. But this e-commerce included in the CPA, Consumer Protection Act 2019, contain specific provision for e-commerce and direct selling. Then, lower pecuniary limitation of the district forum. In 1986, one consumer can file the case if there are deficiencies in service up to 20 lakh. And the state commission was 20 lakh to 1 crore, and the national commission above 1 crore. But according to new Act 2019, it has higher pecuniary limits of the district forum. So one consumer can approach the district forum. Suppose it is deficient in service up to 1 crore. And if it is more than the 1 crore and up to 10 crore, then the consumer can approach the state consumer redressal forum. If the deficient in service that amounts to above than the 10 crores, then the consumer can approach the national consumer forum. Then another point, the role of the CPC 1986 was to promote and protect the right of the consumers. But in the new act is to act advisory bodies for the promotion and protect the consumer rights. The next amendment, there is no provision for alternative dispute resolution mechanism, but in the new CPA 2019 contain provision for mediation, alternative dispute resolution. The next point, the old act, no regulator was in the existence, but in the new act, a regulator by the name of the Central Consumer Protection Authority shall be established. Next point, a person failing to comply with the order of the commission could face imprisonment between 1 month and 3 years, or a fine of 2,000 to 10,000, or both in the CPA 1986, but in the CPA 2009, a person failing to comply with the orders of the commission can face imprisonment up to 3 years or fine not less than 25,000, which may extend to Rs rupees 1 lakh or both. And the last point, in the Consumer Protection Act 1986, for the selection of the members. For the selection of the members, it was earlier practice by the different committees were prescribed, but in the 2019, there is no provision for selection of the committees. The central government has the power to appoint the members. And my last topic, the environment. Regarding environment, how the plastic cause pollution, and what are their effect, and what are the remedial measures. So, the plastic we are using every day. Well, while you are going to the market, we are using the plastic bag to carry the goods, vegetables, anything. So plastic, it is a major, it consists of major toxic pollutants having the harmful effect on the environment, and it causes water, land, and air pollution. It is as plastic is non-biodegradable. Hence, it cannot be degradable easily, and it take a long time. So now it is the one how to the plastic cause various pollution. Plastic takes actually 400 years, even more, to decompose. So why plastic pollution is occurring? Because it is man-made. So how we can control the plastic pollution? There is a slogan that is reduce, reuse, and recycle. So to control the plastic, we have to reduce. We will not use the plastic, reuse, and then recycle. So plastic pollution is caused due to the irresponsibility of the human, and this can be controlled. We have to avoid the plastic utensil, avoid the using the disposal plastic water bottles, and reusable water bottles. Then garbage should be properly disposed. Improper disposal of the and dumping of the plastic waste on the roads and water resources should be avoided. So this is now I am this is my last deliberation. So plastic pollution is a major threat to environment as well as human body, animals, and automatically it enters into the food chain, which cause harmful effect. This is all about. Thank you. Jai Grahak, Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing your valuable thoughts and views with our participants. And I hope that your suggestions and whatever information you share with us would be definitely implemented in practical life also. Now, I request to my colleague, Ms. Rakhi Patil, to express vote of thanks for the conclusion of the second technical session of our national webinar. Over to Rakhi Patil, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. On behalf of KSKW Arts, Science and Commerce College, I express my grateful towards Honorable Biswal sir for accepting our invitation to be resource person for today's online national webinar on consumer protection. Actually, sir, you are giving lots of good things for us. How consumer is the king? What is the importance of consumer education? And you have arranged different programs for the consumer development and publishing different newspapers. Give the idea about consumer right and their responsibility with the help of different examples. Definitely, sir, we are using and trying in our life to valuable your points and things also. So once again, thank you for giving your valuable time.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, madam. Now we are coming to the third technical session. So welcome to all the participants in the third technical session of our national webinar on consumer protection. I hope that all of us are definitely have these interesting sessions and find some fruitful new ideas and views from these sessions of this national webinar. Presently, we are into our third and final technical session of today's seminar. The resource person of this third technical session is Dr. Archana Gharote ma'am, Associate Professor at Hidayatullah National Law University, Raipur, Madhya Pradesh. Now, I request to my colleague, Mr. Mayur Tatar sir, to introduce Dr. Archana ma'am as a resource person of third technical session. Over to Tatar sir.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, welcome, ma'am. I would like to introduce our next eminent speaker, Dr. Archana Sham Gharote. She is working since last 5 years as an assistant professor in Hidayatullah National Law University, Raipur. She has qualification of BSc Microbiology, Nagpur University, LLB, Nagpur University, LLM Business Laws, Nagpur University, LLM Environmental Laws and Criminal Laws, Savitribai Phule, Pune University. Madam completed PhD in legal regime of export promotion in India with special reference to SAES and EOUs from Nagpur University. She wrote number of articles in renowned journals. Madam attended more than 10 national and international seminars. Madam participated as a resource person for skill development program for MCOM, which was conducted by Savitribai Phule University. She acted as a judge for moot court competition at National Law University and Apex University, Jaipur. Madam co-authored of book which is titled Business Laws. Ma'am previously associated with BYK College of Commerce, Nasik. Also, Madam acted as a faculty in law colleges and management colleges in Nashik. Thank you.
Over to Gharote ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir, for your kind and very elaborate introduction. I don't think I deserve the same. Respected Nilamatai Pawar, Maratha Vidya Prasarak Samaj, and other officers of the institution. Good morning to all which are being present over here on the virtual platform. Respected Biswajit ji, Vijay Lad ji, Smita ma'am, Sujata ma'am, and all the members of IQAC, coordinator and co-coordinators and other members too. Really, I am thankful to all of you for granting me this opportunity. As madam has stated that this is the third technical session. So, my dear friends who are on this virtual platform, I think it will be very technical in real sense also. Because I'm going to cover the procedural aspect which is being given under Consumer Protection Act 2019. The act initially was of 1986, but major amendments are being carried out in the year 2019. So I'm stating here that it is an act of 2019. Grahak Devo Bhava. Consumer who was king of the market has now become a victim of it. The notion of freedom of contract due to modern economics, industrial and social development is largely a matter of fiction and an empty slogan so far as consumers are concerned. In Prague Oil Mills versus Union of India, Justice Chandrachud has specifically mentioned that the interest of consumer has to be kept in forefront and the prime consideration that commodity to be made available to the common man at a fair price must rank in priority over every other consideration. Now, let us see that how this concept for protection of consumer came into existence. It is not the case that it is of very recent origin, but it is having evolution since our ancient times. So consumers were given importance, the decisions were in the favor because consumer was considered as king of the market. He can change the market, but after some years or recently after independence, it was being found that consumer has now become the victim of the system. You all as commerce student, and I hope you have learned Sales of Goods Act, because I was also teaching Sales of Goods Act for a long period in BYU College of Commerce. There you must have studied the concept of caveat emptor. The meaning is buyer be aware. Means buyer should be aware of the things which he is purchasing. This was the concept in Sales of Goods Act. But retaining this concept of under Sales of Goods Act, a new concept or the reverse of it had taken place or origined or evolved because of many of the unfair trade practices, concealment of facts, deficiencies in services, defects, and other malpractices were being observed. And at a time, it was thought that yes, there is a need that consumer need to be protected again because now he has become victim. So with this objective, with this aim, Consumer Protection Act was being enacted. Of course, we had some responsibilities, commitments at international level also. In compliance with that also, Consumer Protection Act 1986 was enacted, and after that, because of the development or advent of other technologies, we can say that there were many such changes, amendments in the market, in the technology, and there was a need for amendment of Consumer Protection Act, and that's why 1986 Act was being replaced by 2019 Act. Now, when we speak about Consumer Protection Act, first of all, we must understand some concepts. Because who is consumer? What are his rights? Rights are being discussed by Bishwajit ji also, so I need not repeat it again. And how consumer movement was initiated was also discussed by the earlier speaker, that is Mr. Lad. So without going into the details of this, I think that I should discuss the procedural part and the technical details, because we are now aware or becoming aware that we have rights. We are aware that some Consumer Protection Act is being enacted and amended. But how to take recourse? How to avail those rights? How to enjoy those rights is very essential to be understood. So, Consumer Protection Act is giving various definitions in Section 2. And some of the important definitions are of consumer dispute, complainant, defect in good, deficiency in service, commercial purpose, unfair trade practices. Then recently, e-commerce, how digital transactions are to be dealt with, and product liability, all those were being incorporated. So let us see first the definition of consumer. What do you mean by consumer? Or who is a consumer? According to the definition, I'm not going into the specific wording of the definition, but what is the concept and idea of consumer, which is being incorporated under Consumer Protection Act, that I'm going to deal. Consumer is the person who avails goods or services for a consideration. Now, in this definition, in the next part, they have stated, the legislators have stated that the consumer who avails goods or services and who is being paid for those things. Many times he may promise to pay, partly paid, or partly promised to pay, or on deferred payment system. If any of the person is availing goods or services under such a scheme, then that person is called as a consumer. So, it is not necessary that always the entire consideration is required to be paid, then only you can become a consumer. Then, is it necessary that if I am purchasing goods, I am only the consumer? It is not the case. But a person who is making use of it is also consumer. Now, we all are well aware of the fact that yes, many things are being purchased by our parents or by some other members of the family. Now, in such cases, who is the consumer? Is it necessary that who is purchasing those goods or paying the price is only the consumer? But various decisions which are being coming up and the provisions of the Act specifically say that the person who is making use of it or who is authorized to make use of it for his personal uses is a consumer. Then another concept under Consumer Protection Act is a consumer dispute. Now, whenever you want to file a complaint or you feel that yes, I'm being cheated by any of the seller, service provider, then it is very necessary that you should have a dispute. So, for filing a complaint to the forum, there should be consumer dispute. Unless and until there is any dispute, you cannot refer the matter to the forum. So, consumer dispute should be there. And of what you will complain? You have to complain regarding the defect in the goods and deficiency in the services. So, if the goods you are purchasing, you have to establish that there is defect in the goods. Now, defects can be of many types. It may be manufacturing defect. It may be some other kind of defect. It may be the defect which is being there during transportation or any otherwise also. But it is essential to establish that there is defect in the goods. And whenever you are availing services, you have to establish deficiency in the service. Now, defect in the goods, we can very easily understand that yes, the goods which are supposed or named or known in the market by a particular name, then all those things should be present in those goods. Then only we can say that the good is not a defective one or it is a complete. So wholesomeness of the good should be there. Regarding the deficiency in service, what do you mean by the service is a deficient? Or when we can say that the service is a proper service? Here, under Consumer Protection Act, what should be the proper service is not being mentioned specifically. But here they have specifically stated that if any service is not up to the mark, then it can be called as deficiency in service or deficient services. Now, for establishing deficiency in service, you need not establish the fact that there is skill which is being employed. But here, Consumer Protection Act specifically says that whatever due diligence is required, that due diligence should be taken up. And if you are acting with due diligence or providing the services with the diligency, then it is considered that the service is a proper service. So whenever there is deficiency in service, what type of deficiency or whether negligent act was there or not, has to be identified or is required to be established, then only we can say that the service is a deficient service. Then another important aspect regarding which we can compel or which should be observed under Consumer Protection Act for filing the case is that the goods or services which you are availing. Here, the definition of consumer is saying that you have to avail the goods or services. It is not necessary that you should always purchase the goods or services. So you can avail the goods or services. There is a difference between the concept of availing of goods and services and sell or purchase of the goods or services. Many times I may hire purchase also. I may take some of the services on some contract basis also. So it is not at all necessary that you should always purchase the services or goods. Here they have stated that there should not be commercial use of the goods. So if the goods are used for commercial purposes, then it not fall within the ambit of Consumer Protection Act. But for that purpose, you may go to some other forum. Consumer forum is the forum available only for the personal use of the goods and services whenever they are being provided or they are being supplied. So if there is commercial use, it will not come within the ambit of the act. Now, let us consider the case. In one of the case, that is B.S. Sundar Wadlar, Mudliar and Sons versus Andhra Pradesh Forest Development Corporation. Here the complainant was manufacturing the bidi and he entered into the agreement with respondent for purchasing bidi leaves. Here there was a dispute between these parties later and the matter went to the forum. The forum here specifically stated that that the complainants are not consumer under the Consumer Protection Act. And the ground which was being given over here was that the BD leaves which are being purchased, they are being purchased for commercial purposes. So whenever there is commercial use or commercial purpose is involved, then it will not come within the ambit of Consumer Protection Act and CAC will not be made applicable. So the person may have remedies under another act, but not under Consumer Protection Act. So what is important that whenever you are claiming anything, referring the matter to the consumer forum, it should be for your personal use or it should be for self-employment. Here self-employment concept is also taken up and it is being stated that yes, when it is being for self-employment, then it can be used. The another example or another case we can see is that of Eastern Computers Limited versus Tagore Grotius. Here the term personal computer was being interpreted by National Commission. Now, personal computer, PC, we all are using this word. Now, what is the meaning of PC? Whether personal computer or PC, does it mean that it can be used for personal purposes? So, the term when it was being interpreted by National Commission, analysis was being done and during analysis, it was being stated that you have to see the nature and type of the computer which you are referring or which you are using. What are the specifications? How specifications establishes conclusively and what is the use of it? Now, if the computer which is being used by the undertaking on large scale or for commercial purpose or for commercial work, technical work and scientific work, then in such cases, we cannot say that PC should be interpreted only for personal purpose. The term, it was being interpreted by National Commission that yes, though it is personal computer, but it can be used or it is here being used for commercial purposes, so it is not within the ambit of Consumer Protection Act. Then another case is of purchase of ultrasound scanner. You all are well aware that ultrasound scanner machines are being used widely nowadays. Dr. Simrita Nursing Home purchased one ultrasound scan machine. Now, this machine was purchased, and later on it was being found that there is some problem in the machine. So the nursing home claimed under Consumer Protection Act. Now, what was the claim of the this complainant? The complainant has stated that the machine was defective and should be repaired by opposite party. Here the question again arose that whether the machine which was being used, that is ultrasound machine which was being purchased by the nursing home, and the Punjab State Commission has stated that it was being purchased for commercial purpose. So it is out of the purview of Consumer Protection Act, and Consumer Protection Act will not be made applicable. So what is the objective of the act? The objective of purchase of ultrasound scanner was only to make the profit. Now, when it is for making profit, then naturally commercial purpose will be there, and that's why Punjab State Commission has stated that yes, it is out of purview of consumer. So here what is to be understood here, one thing is necessary to be understood is that we should always see that whether I am a consumer or not, and whether I am purchasing the goods or availing the goods or services for my personal use or for my commercial purposes. Then another case which was being discussed is of Kshetriyala Pulya Sons versus Alvapati Chandra Reddy. Now, we all are aware that India economy is based on agriculture. Agriculture is given more importance in India. Here, the complainant, that is Alavapati Chandra Reddy, he purchased some seeds from Kshetriyala and he sowed those seeds in his field. To his surprise, the seeds did not germinate. Now, when the seeds did not germinate, the matter was reported to the appellants, that is to the company. And apart from company, it was being also reported to the agriculture officer who was in charge in that particular locality. The agriculture officer inspected and found that whether really the claim which was being made by this complainant is true or not. And to his surprise also, it was found that the seeds are not germinating. In this case, the claim for compensation was being made by the complainant. Here, appellant has contended that the sunflower seeds which are being grown, they are being grown for commercial purposes, and normally they are being sold in the market. Ultimately, the yield will be sold in the market. But the contention of this company was not upheld, and the Andhra Pradesh State Commission has specifically stated that ultimately the yield will be sold in the market does not mean that seeds are for commercial purposes. So here some of the decisions are against commercial use, and somehow we can say that many of the aspects are being brought within the concept of personal use. Similar is the case of Surendra Kumar versus Ascot. Haryana State Commission here has held that Parliament has used the phrase commercial purpose in generic sense. So, agriculture is the genus which is being distinct from commerce. Commerce and agriculture purpose are genetically distant, and that's why agriculture purpose cannot be labeled as commercial purpose. So from this, we can identify that what is the intention of the legislators, and also we can identify that how the promotion or protection is being extended to the consumer by bringing them within the ambit of Consumer Protection Act. So the poor farmers who are purchasing the seeds, taking yield, will not be unnecessarily harassed, or they will not be cheated. In Srikhande versus Anita Sena Fernandez, here the case was of negligence. See friends, how negligence is being there in medical field. We all visit frequently to the doctors, nursing homes, hospitals, and get ourselves treated at the hands of doctors. But many times these doctors also play game, or they are negligent enough. In this case, the complainant was treated negligently by the doctor, and a gash was inside the stomach of the patient. This patient, she was having a problem, that's why she approached the doctor, and the operation was conducted. While conducting operation, one gauge was inside the stomach only. The operation was completed, and then the patient was discharged. After the operation also, for a long period, there was some pain in the stomach. Now, why pain was being there? The patient was not able to understand. But little pain was always there, and that was constant. Now, after 9 years, after the initial operation, she approached the doctor and she said that, yes, I'm having constant pain. I thought that some or other day it will go away, but still it is persisting. Now, in this case, what had happened? The doctor said that there is something inside the stomach. Now, there was some infection. All those things they have conducted the requirements according to the medical science, the test and other things. And it was being observed that there is a gauge inside. Now, even after 9 years, can this matter be complained against that doctor was the question. When there is the complainant went to the authorities, to the forum, it was being stated, or contention of the respondent of the doctor was that it is being barred by limitation, because for each and every act we have a limitation. And limitation is not of 2 years, and for Consumer Protection Act, it is hardly for 2 years. Here, it already 9 years have been lapsed. Now, can anybody come to the relief of this patient or complainant, because she is being facing a problem due to the negligence of the doctor only? Here, when the matter went to the authorities, to the forum referred this matter, and they borrowed one concept or discovery rule which was prevalent in US. Now, under the discovery rule, there are 2 types of discoveries. What are these 2 types of discoveries? One is patent and another is latent. If the damage which is being inflicted due to the negligence is coming under the patent, and the act, if it is arises on the date was being committed. If the cause of action arises when victim realizes the negligence, is the latent one. So one act is patent and another act is latent. So in this case, here it was being considered that it was latent because the patient itself did not realize that the pain is being because of some of the wrong or negligence which was being there by the doctors. And it was being stated that complainant is within limitation because the complainant has recovered or complainant has realized recently that there is problem because of the negligence of the doctor. So discovery rule was being used here, and it was being stated that when cause arises in case of medical emergency, discovery rule can be implemented. It was being first propounded in case of Ayers versus Morgan. So in this manner, we can see that how cases are being coming up. Now you all are well aware and always visiting the College Road where McDonald's is being there. Yes, I hope many of the students are from Nasik, people are from Nasik. McDonald's is being there. Similarly, in many of the cities, McDonald's is being there. They are doing their business. One case is of Connaught Plaza restaurants. What McDonald's is having, McDonald's has a scheme that is McDonald's में खाओ हर बार price ले जाओ. So they had scheme that McDonald's में खाओ और price ले जाओ. Now, when this complainant has participated in this scheme, कि McDonald's में खाओ, so he went and he placed the order. Now, when he placed the order, he thought that yes, I'll get the benefit of the scheme. But he was being asked to place two different orders. One was for 81 rupees and another minimum of 20 rupees to avail free French fries. But this scheme was not declared earlier by the person. He only stated that McDonald's में आओ हर बार और prize जीतो. But what complainant was required to do, that he was required to place two orders. Now it is not necessary that I should always place two different orders. Not only he was required to place two different orders, but two different SMS was also required to be given because a coupon was being there and one SMS was being charged for ₹3. The matter went to the court because the complainant thought that the McDonald's is playing some game and he is indulging in unfair trade practices. Because he was not giving the assured prices also, and he is asking to place two different orders, he is asking to pass two SMS, and for one SMS, ₹3 is being charged. Now, he asked for the detailed scheme, but it was not being given. What are the terms and conditions of the scheme? That was also not being given by the McDonald's in this case. And results were also being concealed. So, complainant lodged a complaint to District Forum, where District Forum has directed that Connaught Plaza should declare and disclose entire scheme and compensation should be paid of ₹10,000 and cost of litigation 2,000. The decision was in favor of the complainant over here. Now, this Connaught Plaza, they went to higher authority, that is State Commission. And in State Commission, the matter again went against McDonald's or Connaught Plaza. Now, this Connaught Plaza is a franchisee of McDonald's. But instead of giving some relief, State Commission has enhanced the compensation amount to 2 lakh rupees and punitive damages of 10 lakh rupees. Again, the McDonald's and Connaught Plaza was aggrieved by the decision and they have filed the case to National Commission. In National Commission, it was was being held that no proof was being there that Connaught Plaza has collected SMS charges from telecom authorities or telecom company. Now, whenever you are claiming that he is asking for 2 SMS and 3 rupee each is being charged. So when you say that he is doing undue or unfair trade practice, then also it is necessary that to understand or to establish that he was being benefited or he was in agreement with the telecom company. But it was being found that he is not sharing any SMS charges. No doubt unfair trade practices was being upheld by the National Commission also, because the entire scheme, the results and the manner in which he was conducting, that was being declared as unfair trade practices. But instead of imposing more, the compensation amount was reduced, but the decision again was against the McDonald's only, and compensation of 30,000 and cost of 70,000 was being imposed. So in this way, we can say that how these people are cheating consumers. Whenever we visit any restaurant, whenever we purchase any goods, avail any services, then they are paying some taxes, some defective goods are being there, or some or other act is being there, which is affecting the rights of the consumer. In one of the case, that is of Ernakulam Medicinal Center, there was release of dead body by the hospital. Now, whenever there is a death of the person during operation or in the hospital, then who can claim the dead body? The dead body should be given to the nearest person or to the relatives of the deceased person. In this case, what had happened? The dead body was given to the unrelated person, who was a third person, who was not at all having any relation with this person. Now, this Jayashri, PR Jayashri, or the complainant, he claimed that the hospital is acting negligently because they have given the dead body of the patient to some other person who is nowhere related, and her rights are being violated and there is deficiency in service. This complaint was upheld by National Commission, and National Commission has stated that yes, this amounts to deficiency in negligence and deficiency in service. We all are aware of the advertisement which are being there by Horlicks and Zydus Wellness products. Many times these advertisements are misleading and disparaging. Also, we have seen the advertisement which was being given by Fair and Lovely. In morning, Mr. Vijay Lal has also referred this matter. When Fair and Lovely, if you are using continuously for 7 days or more days or 15 days or 1 month also, you will become fair is the claim made in advertisement. So I want to point out here that yes, my dear Fair and Lovely manufacturers, why you are not supplying these products to African countries or American countries where always there is a tussle between black and white? Why still they are all struggling over there? So, apart from the thing, what was being mentioned here, that the Zydus company was restrained from telecasting the advertisement which was comparing with the Horlicks. The grounds of comparison were misleading and disparaging. You must have many times seen the advertisement that yes, you take this treatment and you will improve your height or there will be increase in the height. These are all misleading. Then acupressure therapy, many times it is being taken. Now, whether acupressure therapy particularly, which was in case of acupressure therapy health center, it was being supported by WHO or any other authority or not, that has to be identified. Then only we can say that the therapy is being useful. But in this case, All Indian Institute of Medical Science also found that it is a false statement and misleading advertisement. And WHO also denied that the approval to acupressure therapy to particular health center was not being given by them, and that's why they are being doing unfair trade practices, because it was being stated by this institution, acupressure therapy health center, that if you have for twice a day this therapy after meals for 7 minutes, all your problems will be resolved. Today also we see that many people are facing medical ailments. So why these things are not being resolved till now if we are having such type of technology? So this was regarding the cases which were being filed by various consumers. Apart from this also, there are many other cases which were being filed, and the court, or we can say the commissioners, state commission and other commissions have taken action against these people. Now, how the complaint need to be filed, or how the complaint is to be filed, that we will see. Complaint, whenever you are filing the complaint, you have to see that whether you are a consumer or you are coming within the concept of consumer which is being given under Section 2 of Consumer Protection Act. If you are coming within that definition, means if you are a consumer using yourself for using the goods or services for your personal use, then you become consumer. If any of the authorized agent or member of the family is being using, then also you are a consumer. You can file the complaint. Or if there is any organization, any NGO, if any of these people are there, then they are also being called within the concept of consumer and they can file the complaint. Consumer Protection Act 1986 stated for filing of complaint which was in written manner or physical form or paper form. But after enactment of this new act, it is being observed that while flexibility is being given to the consumer. Now, why this wide flexibility is being given to the consumer? For the procedural ease and to reduce the inconvenience and harassment to the people or to the consumer. So, under New Consumer Protection Act, we can see that e-filing provision is also there, and apart from e-filing system, there is also the jurisdiction concept is being extended. So, jurisdiction is being given to various forums, because you can also file the case close to your residence or to the workplace. Earlier it was at the place of purchase. So if I have purchased any goods in Nasik, I can file the complaint only in Nasik, though I am resident of Odisha or though I am resident of Madhya Pradesh or some other state. And many times we see that we are purchasing goods at different places because we keep on traveling, we go visit other places. Many times it may happen that we are shifting from one place to another, and in such cases it becomes inconvenience to the person to file such complaints, and harassment also, because the procedure is too technical according to earlier law. The new law has stated that yes, we have made procedural ease and we have reduced the inconvenience also. Now, how the case is to be filed, or what is the procedure to be adopted? For filing any complaint, the complainant has to decide whether he has to file the complaint in a written format or in electronic form. the proceeding which is to be filed before district forum, then in such cases you have district forum or not, and what is your jurisdiction, that has to be identified. Now we have to see the jurisdictions of the forum also. Under Consumer Protection Act, there is a 3-tier system. Means at district level, forum is being there, which is being called as district forum or district consumer redressal forum, or nowadays it is being also called as district commission. Then at state level, we have state commission, that is the state consumer redressal forum or commission, and at national level, we have national redressal consumer forum or commission. So these type of 3 levels are being there for filing of the complaint. Now, whenever any filing is being done, we have to see the jurisdiction. First part I told you regarding the territorial jurisdiction. Another part is of any pecuniary jurisdiction, whether the forum is having pecuniary jurisdiction or not. Now, what is the pecuniary jurisdiction? The pecuniary jurisdiction is being changed as compared to the earlier, and it is being enhanced. So, depending upon the pecuniary jurisdiction of each of the authority or the forum, we have to file the complaint. So, up to 50 lakhs, up to 1 crore, up to above 1 crore, up to 10 crores. So, such type of pecuniary jurisdiction is being given to these authorities. If my complaint is within 1 crore, where should I file? If it is above 1 crore, where it should lie, and if it is above 10 crores, where it will lie, that we have to identify, and accordingly we have to file our complaint to the consumer forum or to the commission. Now, after filing or while filing any of the complaint, we have to see that whether we have accompanied our application or complaint with the fees or not. So whatever particular fee is being there, prescribed fee is being there, that should be accompanied with the application or with the complaint. Then after complaint is being filed, receipt of the complaint will be there. Now whether there is admission of the complaint or rejection of the complaint, that will be identified, and the forum will pass the order regarding admission or rejection by passing the order. Whether it is being admitted, admission will be there. If it is being rejected, then rejection order will be passed. Now, whenever any rejection is being done, it is mandatory on the authorities that they have to give opportunity of hearing to the complainant. Now, whenever any matter is being tried under these forums or under Consumer Protection Act, we have always to see that whether principles of natural justice are being observed or not. If principles of natural justice will be made applicable whenever any matter is being tried under the forum. So, hearing opportunity should be given, and whether you are admitting or not, it should be decided within 21 days. If it is not being decided within 21 days, then it will be considered that it is being deemed admitted. Now, once admission is being there, the matter will be referred to the mediation. The mediation provision is being recently introduced in the because of the new Amendment Act of 2019. Mediation provision was not there earlier. At first hearing only, it will be decided whether it will be given to mediation, or later also if it is being observed by the forum, then they can also see that settlement is being possible, acceptable to the parties, they are given consent in writing. Then in such cases, after the consent is being given regarding the dispute, that it can be settled by mediation, matter will be referred for mediation. Now, after the matter is being referred to the mediation within 21 days, it has to give the directions that the matter is being referred, and copy will be given to the opposite party also. Now, opposite party will be given 30 days period for filing his written statement. And within that 30 days period, which can be extended to further 15 days, the reply will be filed, and then the matter will be proceeded. Now, once the complaint is being placed, then either there will be mediation. If mediation is being there, the matter will be resolved. and the decision will be given by the mediators only. But if it is the matter is not being resolved, then in such cases that matter will be taken to the particular authority, which is the particular authority, maybe district forum or maybe state forum or national forum, depending upon the jurisdiction and depending upon the valuation of the suit or the claim which is being made. Now, when this matter goes to the court or forum, the forum will identify that how to resolve this matter. Now, they will first see what is the claim, whether it is the defect or deficiency in service. If it is the defect in service or deficiency in service or defect in goods, then in such cases, what they have to see, that they have to see that whether it is necessary to analyze or do or conduct any test, so to identify what is the defect. Many times technical assistance is required. So when technical assistance is required or some technology is required, then that sample will be sent to the lab after adopting appropriate procedure of sampling and sealing. Such procedure is being given under the rules also. And direction will be given to the analyst that he has to conduct the required test and he has to report within 45 days. Once the report is being there, for the report or for the analysis, you have to pay the fees also. Once the report is being there, from the report, it will be identified that whether there is any defect or deficiency or depending upon the nature of the goods and services. And then one can identify that yes, whether the report, correctness of the report is being there, because many of the times correctness of the report is also being challenged by the opposite party. So when correctness of the report is being challenged, then the matter will be pursued and then it will issue order under section 39 of the act. The order will be passed, and once the order is being passed, the matter will be decided and they will hear the parties on the basis of evidences, on the basis of affidavits which are being placed on the records, and the matter will be disposed expeditiously. Now here they have stated the matter should be disposed expeditiously. If the report of analysis is being required, then the time period which is being given is 5 months, and if there is no such analysis to be done, then the matter should be decided within 3 months from the receipt of the notice. This is very important. It is not the date of filing of complaint, but it is the date of receipt of notice. Generally, adjournments are not being given, or if there is any sufficient reason, then only adjournments will be given. And if interim orders are required, then they may be passed by the authorities. Here, for the purposes of passing the order or passing interim orders, powers under CPC are being available, and it will be seen that yes, whether the matter is to be disposed in which manner. If there is a death of the person, then all the provisions under CPC will be applicable, so the representatives will be brought upon record. Now, if the order is being passed by any of the authority and I am aggrieved by the decision, then I can go in appeal, and different appeal period is being given. So, appeal can be done and appeal can be decided by the higher authority. So appeal from district will go to state, from state it will go to national, and from national it will go to Supreme Court. But it is not the case that every time you are going on filing an appeal and appeal. There is always conclusiveness of the decision also, and that you have to observe. So the matter which is coming from any forum of district, it will never go to the authority that is of Supreme Court, because limitation is being there that you cannot file n number of appeals in a particular matter. Whenever any appeal is to be filed, that appeal is to be filed within the prescribed limit that is being mentioned under the Act, and it is being specifically stated that 50% of the amount is to be deposited when any appeal is to be entertained. So when any forum will entertain the appeal, then they will always see whether 50% amount of the order which is being passed by the lower authority is being there or not. And if mediation was being there under section 80 and 81, no appeal provision is being there. So in this manner, we can say that the procedure is being adopted by the authorities under Consumer Protection Act. So the new provision is being incorporated under the act, that is of the central authority. The central authority appointment is being there. And if it is being found that there is any prima facie case, then the matter will be investigated by the investigation wing. Preliminary inquiry will be held and the matter will be dealt to the regulator under the act. The reports will be there, and on the basis of the reports only, the decision will be taken that yes, whether there is sufficient evidence of violation of the consumer rights or any unfair trade practices are being there or not. If it is being found, then the authority will pass particular order. Suppose the goods are being supplied, then they will recall such hazardous goods. If some services are being there which are not proper services or which are dangerous or hazardous, then they can be withdrawn. Reimbursement of the prices can be there, and discontinuation of the practices will be there if unfair trade practices is being there, which is not in the benefit of the consumer or it is not in consumer interest. Every time opportunity of hearing will be given to the person against whom the order is being passed. So here also it is being stated that due diligence should be there, and due diligence means what the court has interpreted the word due diligence. It is being stated that whatever delegation or whatever diligence is required in ordinary course of business, that only should be observed, and if it is being observed, then there is no other necessity to prove or establish that you have done due diligence, and no defense will be available if he proves that he had previous knowledge of order passed by central authority for withdrawal or modification of advertisement or any of the goods or supply of goods are being stopped. So in this manner, the procedure is being adopted by central authority and the procedure is being adopted by the authorities which are being under the act. And after identifying, the determination of penalty will be there. Various penalties are being there depending upon the nature of the offense, continuation of the offense, frequency of the offense, duration of the offense, gross impact, population affected, and the loss to the revenue. The penalties will be imposed by the authorities. Power of search and seizure is also being given to the authorities as it is an investigation authority, or it is given power to investigate into the matter. So this is all about the investigation process and the procedure which is being adopted by the authorities. Many of the cases are being there. Nowadays, product liability is also being incorporated, which is also the new concept under the new act. And we can see that the person who is giving any product which is defective, then in such cases, liability will be imposed on that person only. So this is all about the procedural part and the various cases which are being discussed by the authorities under the act. I think the time which is being given to me, I have crossed the time. So I invite the queries. So all the queries, if it is being there from any of the participants, are being welcome so that I can answer those and rest my topic over here. Many things can be discussed under the act, but taking into consideration the time constraints, I think I should stop over here. Any queries? Many unfair trade practices we observe in our day-to-day life also. Many restrictive trade practices we observe in our day-to-day life. Many times we go to shop and we see that there is a combo pack. Yes, the toothpaste is being sold along with the toothbrush. So it is the restriction which is being put by these manufacturers. Toothpaste I may require every month, but toothbrush I require only once after 6 months or 4 months. So this is the restriction. So these type of restrictions are also being controlled, or they are also being taken into consideration by the authorities. Many unfair trade practices are being there. So such type of unfair trade practices are also being controlled.
Thank you, ma'am. This session's vote of thanks is done by the Mr. A.R. Khatale, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. On the behalf of KSKW Arts, Science and Commerce College, I express my gratitude towards Honorable Dr. Archana Garote, ma'am, for accepting our invitation to be the resource person for today's online national webinar on the topic of consumer protection. Ma'am, thank you for sharing your in-depth knowledge and information with our participant. I am quite sure that our participant will make use of this newly gained knowledge for the betterment of their life. Ma'am, you talk about the current scenario and the situation of customers, the concept of consumer protection. Then you give your insights on the Consumer Protection Act, the old 1986 Act, and the new 2019 Consumer Protection Act. You talk about feature and components and the existence of the Consumer Protection Act, and then you conclude the webinar by giving us the information about consumer redressal system and the process to file the complaint. Madam, we are really enlightened with your knowledge and the presence. Thank you for giving your valuable time. Thank you, ma'am. Now I request my colleague, Ms. Varsha Thakre, madam, to express the vote of thanks and to conclude the national webinar on the consumer protection.
I must thank the organizing team and my colleagues, Dr. S.M. Pagdhane, Dr. R.A. Ahire, Dr. C.A. T.G. Devre, Ms. R.P. Jadhav, Ms. R.M. Jadhav, Ms. R.M. Patil, Mr. M.S. Tatar, Ms. K. A. More, Mr. A.R. Khatale, and non-teaching staff, Mr. N.B. Shingade, for coordinating and cooperation and make this webinar successful. Finally, wonderful students who have turned up in such great numbers, not only from our department, but also from other department of college. Thank you so much for your active participation and cooperation. Once again, I thanks all for your coordination or cooperation for making it great success. Thank you. Thank you for everyone. Over to Pagdhane madam. I over to Pagdhane madam here.
Once again, I thanks to all the participants, and on behalf of chairman, now I conclude the national webinar on consumer protection. Thank you for participation of all the peoples and active participation of all the participants and providing necessary support to organize such wonderful event by the to the department. Thank you all of you. And now I conclude the meeting of today's national